What's going on, everybody? What is crack-a-lacking? What is going on? What's going on, y'all? How y'all doing? What's cracking? Um, I got my camera on here and trying to get this thing. I guess the autofocus is acting a little bit. The autofocus is acting up slightly. I don't know why it's not keying on my face like it's supposed to. But I guess we got it right or whatever. Guess it's StreamYards or something. I never had this problem. But anyway, how y'all doing? What's going on? We're going to start the show as soon as people get in. We live. We uncut. We about to get it in. We're just going to have a relaxing day. Let's say what's up to people in the chat. JustaskChar is there. JustaskChar, how you doing? Yerp, what's going on? RVSOP, Yerp. Rashid, my man, what's going on? What's going on? This is going to be an open panel day discussion. If you want to step up, say your words, get your drinks ready, get your beverages popping. We're going to have a good time. Let me get my headphones set up. Let me get my mic in place. I was trying to do this outside, but it is hot out there. It is smoldering out there in the streets. So it's smoldering out there in them streets. So let me get plugged in. And yeah, get plugged in. All right. How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? How y'all doing? If y'all can hear me in the chat, press 1 in the chat. I'm going to go down here so I can get these things situated and so forth. Get these shout outs ready before we start the show. It's just an open panel. It's just me chilling and kicking it and stuff like that. I'm going to get my beverage ready. If the camera's not acting right, what I'm going to do is I'll just switch out one of the lenses and then we'll just go from there. Just bear with me. Technical difficulties since people don't want to cam up. What's going on, Shardra? What's cracking?
Not much, man. Not much. Just here on another Saturday night.
Saturday night. You know what I'm saying? So what are we drinking on? Like what do we got as a beverage?
So I got some of the Hennessy XO chilling in the freezer right now, but for right now it's one of them, generic Arnold Palmers,
Okay. Arnold Palmer's. What beer? IPA? What's going on?
No, it's just a Arnold Palmer frozen cocktail mix, one of the generic ones. Something while I'm waiting on the Hennessy to chill.
Oh yeah, you gotta put that on ice a little bit. We too grown for that. Hold on.
Sitting there burning your gizzards out? Nah.
Nah.
We don't play that. We be drinking stuff smooth.
Well, it's XO, it's smooth, but it's XO, what I'm saying? We waiting for our esteemed commander to maybe show up. I'm gonna drop the link pretty shortly, y'all. I'm just want to go through here so the people of the Grey Regime and give out shout outs. If you want to give some shout outs, Charge, go ahead. I'm just gonna put these up on the screen from our lovely chat. And salute to all the 6 people that are watching us.
I got to shout out JJMuziq with that classic R&B jams. JustaskChar with her advice channel. That was an interesting show last night, an interesting show today. I mean, I still can't believe dude got, cops called on him because he was taking money out the ATM. Like he wasn't rocking the ATM. He wasn't beating the ATM up. He was taking money out the ATM. And then they told him, "Oh, you? Why you got so many credit cards for a black man?" Hello?
Yeah. Like, why you got so many credit cards for a black man? You know what I'm saying? Hey, Ruby, you already know it's in the Bat Cave there, Ruby. We need we need our master of the Kobayashi Maru on deck. We need the prosecutor on deck. Our residential psychiatrist on deck. You know what I'm saying? If you are available, because I know it's the weekend, and you know what I'm saying, and you enjoy yourself, putting in double duty. But yeah, but like shopping while black, taking out money from the ATM with your ATM card while black, buying Newports while black. I like we should have a list, like playing cops and robbers in the park as a young kid while
Little
black.
kid while black.
Yeah, selling Lucy cigarettes while black. Let's see. Buying Skittles while black.
Yeah, getting caught with a counterfeit $20 bill while black.
And they didn't even find the like they have yet to produce this counterfeit $20 bill.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Like, while black. So let me go down here in this list. So we're gonna be covering a myriad of things. Once we get some people on the panel, like, share, and subscribe this to the channel. Share it if you please. By November, we looking for a 500 thing. Oh, okay, we got Ruby here. We adding to the stream. Yeah, buddy. What's going on, everybody?
You're
Hey, good evening. And
hoorah.
I'll be right back though. I'm gonna switch devices. I'll be right back.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, you know what? In StreamYard, you can switch people out. You can switch it so everybody. And we looking all big on here. We can, what I'm saying. You can even switch people's things around. You know what I'm saying, like this and stuff. Yeah, they done upgraded. You know what I mean? They really trying to compete with Zoom. Zoom kicking butt, ain't it?
Hey, that money's there.
Yeah.
As long as there's money being put into stuff, especially now with the old Rona and people still not being able to be out, people got to find something to do with their time.
Exactly. You said breathing while black, Callie J, breathing while black. So I'm, what I'm saying, I got the.
Trying to get money out of an ATM while black. Like a nigga can't even check his balance without being
black. Oh my God, this is getting ridiculous, man. Like, you know what? What I would like to before we get into it, right? Because we got some time, man. It ain't like we rushing. We ain't on the 90-minute clock. We ain't on the 2 hours and 30-minute clock set by our esteemed Quincy Jones of our Black YouTube sector, Char Willie. We get to hang out. We get to be masculine today. And feminine when Ruby comes back, and whatever ladies want to jump on the panel, you know what I'm saying. If you want to jump on the panel, just
I don't know if I can handle our masculinity, right? Because around these YouTube streets, right, masculinity comes with a heavy price to pay. Yeah, goddamn, there'd be a bump in the night.
Oh, well, I gotta go down there and check it, right? Like you know what? Matter of fact, let's unpack that for a second, right? Let's go and unpack that for a second. Let's go.
Hey man, I got problems, being the man of the house and having to, be worried about when there's a bump at the door.
I know.
Why is she looking at me?
Because you have a dick.
You know what I'm saying? Hey, I'd like to make a service announcement. All views shared by the Grey Regime. We support all views shared by all panelists that's up here, unless you're a derelict, dusty, and dominated. Continue. Hey, we about to get into it. It's like, hey, hey. You know what I'm saying?
Each and every single one of those words causes PTSD, and the derelicts that hear them.
Ooh.
They start catching conniption fits. Why am I derelict? How am I derelict? How are you doing what you're supposed to be doing?
There's been a couple of brothers, man, that have literally like flew off the handle. Like I could just be saying it in general. Just, because when I say in general, and I'm speaking in the fourth person when I say, because when the derelict Negro male yada 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 place action or behavior here or phraseology here, and then you get the that flies off the handle. How exactly am I derelict, brother? You like?
Well, let's answer that question, right? Dereliction, at its base, is not doing what you're supposed to do.
See, yeah, that's exactly all it is, right? Like dereliction. It's like you have a set of responsibilities to fulfill, and you're not fulfilling them.
But what about the women?
Willingly, though, right?
But what about the women? Well, why you got to pick on me? Why can't you pick on the women?
Because you don't have a pussy.
Okay. All right.
That's right. The reason why, dog, to you and not the women.
That's just not fair.
You want to know? You know what's funny? You want to know one of the most unfairest things in the universe?
Life?
Yeah. Do you know why life is unfair? Because you have this thing called RNA. Do you think RNA picks the strongest genes based on fairness?
Oh, no. Let's see. I grew up in that time frame when people started getting participation trophies, so you know.
You know what your RNA literally does with like the junk DNA that it doesn't select to pair with a DNA strand? It literally causes, it uses it as fertilizer for the stronger DNA pairs that it has chosen. Okay?
Right.
It is eat or be eaten with your genes. Okay?
So you saying that even on an intracellular level, we can't allow dereliction, huh?
I will say this. Look at ABL's face. Those are derelict genes. Because somewhere the RNA didn't do what the fuck it was supposed to do. Okay?
I like Ninja Turtles.
In the cartoons, maybe.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? They're like, I don't know. I was trying to figure out, was he like, they all look the same. I was trying to figure out, like, you know, because it was like, what? It was Donatello, Michelangelo, Leonardo, Raphael, right? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe he was Aristotle. I don't know. Maybe they was talking about a fifth turtle and he just didn't make the cut, like Destiny's Child. Like,
man, Destiny only had one child. Destiny only had one child. We can't even go there.
Hey, like if you really think about it, and you're right, we as human beings, we have this thing about, you know, I guess, we like the thing that has something wrong with it, right? You get all these shows about fixing these old cars, refurbishing, taking an old house and seeing what you can do with it, see if you can fix it back up, bring it back to life, right? And I guess that's what we are, and those are solutions, right? Because if you fix something that's derelict, you know, it takes more energy to do that, right? You got to find it was great at one point because it was there. But for these dudes, it just don't look like it's any help.
Exactly, and that's why it always cracks me up whenever I hear these guys that get like this outburst of you know, when I say the word dereliction or derelict, right? They get this outburst. It lets me know that they don't even know what the fuck derelict means, even though I explain it. Even though Dre, who's like my Obama translator, like explains it in a way that your average everyday nigga sitting in front of a liquor store could understand. And like, how many times do you got to explain it in like I got to put it in a pop-up book and shit? Yeah.
No. They understand it when you say it. That's why that the truth hurts, right? Right. The truth hurts. Like if you say derelict to me, I know you're not talking to me. We're just having a conversation. But if you say derelict to the non-binary Hermethonites, they have a problem with that. because they know somewhere along the line it was their fault, and they failed to realize that. That's
Well,
just the thing.
it's
Hey,
like hey, I'm back. It's like the whole, if it don't apply, let it fly thing, right? What they're responding to, it's not about the life that they're lying about on YouTube, right? Because the life they've lied about on YouTube is nothing like that. The life on YouTube isn't derelict, right? What they're responding to is the truth, right? What they're really doing in their real life, and the movements they've really made, the decisions they've really chosen. That's what you are addressing, and that's what you're calling derelict. That's why they can't help but get mad, because at the end of the day, you're talking about the truth of their lives. That's how they really been handling stuff. That this is how they really walked away from their baby mama because she pissed them off one time. Like, you know what I mean? And who cares about his 3 kids? They're her problem now. They ain't my problem. It's not my fault. No way. She should have been on the pill. Right? Like, I mean, these are the choices they made, and you're calling them out for their real life choices, and they can't take it.
You see. This is how you can tell a derelict. Why has it got to be my fault?
Non-masculine dereliction. Yes, Bondi. Yes.
Because we have to, at some point in time, we have to be responsible for our own actions, right? Like, isn't that what like they say, like when you hear the coons, or even like the neoliberal mockingbirds and flying monkeys that parade themselves around as conservatives? Don't you hear them say that all the time? Black people got to be about for their own actions. But then you're telling them you have to be responsible for your own actions. The same Negroes telling us they better not ask for reparations. The same ones running around here using black women as a scapegoat for their failure in their election.
There was a couple of things, because we give credence a lot of times to people, or to entities that are fictional, right? We put a lot of onus on these fictional characters or these entertainers versus the people that are down in the streets doing the actual work, right? Because they're laying the foundation, right? Like I said before, no one walks up to a house and say, "Man, that's a great foundation. Look at that brick and mortar right there. That's sexy," right? No one says that, right? But
actually, let me disagree with you on that. You know who does that?
Who's that?
When an investor comes in to look at a house, they look at that foundation and they go, "Yeah, that's sexy. That's that brick. That's that brick foundation. They ain't going nowhere. I want this house as an investment."
Yeah, but it's people that don't know, like, to the populace, and a lot of people do it. Like you were saying, Shaj, you selling that validation, right? For, like, what I'm saying, for a $5 cash.
I got that the fire validation, right? Anybody want it, right? You got that validation.
And what I wanted to show real quickly is how, of course, the main thing on the street right now is how we had the actor from the Black Panther. He passed just recently. I think it was yesterday. The news came in. It was doing when Char and Ruby was doing the doing the panel yesterday. And we didn't want to take away from what you guys were doing, or even bring that into attention at that point. But we would like to touch on it. And I found some interesting things on the quote unquote internet, wonderful internet, you know what I'm saying? And speaking of which, the person that helped him through his school, acting school, was Denzel Washington, right? Denzel Washington sent him a check. He didn't know who it was from. He wanted to find out who sent him this check so he can pay for his last semester. But Felicia Rashard is the one that told Denzel Washington about this young man, Chadwick, at the time that he was going through acting school, and he never met him. And just off of this black woman's recommendation to another black man, he invested his money.
No, ain't no black woman did that. That ain't real.
So y'all know me. I love receipts, right? I love bringing receipts, to debunk some things, right? Because if people say no or nothing of all, that means there's nothing else. There's not a fluctuation in the universe, right? Because everything's not definite, right? And I love when Ruby and we have these discussions because we'll be all rah, and Ruby will come in with this like thing, and then you can't not refute that there is a absolute possibility that could happen. Like that could happen, right? Not to say that it did happen, right? But it could happen. So you cannot always think in definites. And that's the good thing about having a female point of view. Now, let's not say Ruby thinks like a woman all the time, right? It's probably about 5%, 10%, right? 10%. But it's there. She is a woman, and there is times when she thinks like a woman, but it is needed, right? And that is the compassion part that we as men, we don't have. So to build a community, you cannot have a community full of women, and you cannot have a community full of men. We have to interact with each other to build a community. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to play. Hold on, this is. I don't know why this started right here. Okay, so I don't know. This is an MP3. Oh man, it didn't download the video portion of it, but I messed up. But anyway, I was going to play that portion of it, but I can't because when I downloaded it, it only did the MP3 voice, MP3 file only. And well, we can
It wouldn't
probably
be worth just listening to it.
Well, I'm like, it was some good cuts though, like, cause people, people don't listen to stuff, they don't even read, they like the visual aids and stuff, but we can listen to it, and maybe that won't give me a copyright strike.
They'd rather listen than read, though. I'd rather listen to the audiobook than have to read the book. Come on now.
Yeah. So I want to know if everybody can hear this.
It's very quiet.
Kind of low.
Super kind of low. Okay, probably can't even. Hold on, let me see if I can. Maybe if I share my screen, and that might bring it up. StreamYards, man. Ooh, I can't complain. I ain't paying for it. So, okay, I'm gonna share my screen, and y'all gonna see my music selection from iTunes.
Hey man, now wait a second. Wait a second. You just said you're not about to complain about something you got for free.
No, I'm not. I can make a critique, but I'm not going to complain because I ain't paying for it. Now, for those of you that are complaining, go ahead, because if you're paying for it and you're getting the same type of service that I'm getting, go ahead and complain all you want. Like I'm all about that complaint action.
I'm just saying that you're saying that if you're not putting in any kind of work or any kind of support to something, you're not going to complain about it. Interesting. Interesting.
Nope, not at all.
Nope. We'll come back to that later.
Oh yeah, I know we will.
I see what you did there, Chandra.
I see what you did there. I tell you, look, we having these Discord conversations in the public. Now we can't go too far into it, but we can give y'all a little peek of what we do in the back cave. Because you know what I mean. Hey, Ruby, are you? It's your morning? It's your morning right now?
It is my morning, and I'm sick, so that doesn't bode well for everyone.
Oh, so. You know what? You know what? It bodes extremely well. We got the prosecutor Ruby now. We got Harvey Dent on the case. Yes.
Oh no! Let me mute myself.
let's see if y'all can hear it or the chat can hear it.
What about the I didn't have money to pay for this. Imagine receiving a letter that your tuition for that summer was paid for. And I'm basically just holding this secret, my whole career. When I came back, I got a beneficiary letter, and it said Denzel Washington paid for you. And I was like, what? I didn't know him. Felicia Richard was helping kids, and she called us. She called me, and I said, yeah, I'll sponsor wherever. And she said, well, you sponsor me. Or he called to thank me. And what'd you say to him? He was like, well, I haven't met you yet, And I said, yeah, I got to tell you something. You know, you pay for me to go to school. He said, oh, so that's why I'm here. You owe me money.
Okay, Jack, I want my money back. I went to the premiere of Black Panther here in New York, and I saw Ryan. So I just want to thank you for that. I'm not here to see that. I'm not here. I like the movie Black Panther, yeah, Wakanda forever, but where's my money? What years been me back? Young boys, man. And I actually just started. I was like, you know, Sydney. I said, man, now I'm in the gap. And me and many others are in the gap. It was like, man, I felt like the third leg of the relay. Like, yeah, go. Now I ran behind him. I'm still running. But I was like,
I know personally that your generosity extends past what you have given on the stage and screen. I have no doubt that there are similar stories at Boys and Girls Clubs and theaters and churches across the country where I know you have also inspired and motivated others. An offering from a sage and a king is more than silver and gold. It is a seed of hope, a bud of faith. There is no Black Panther without Denzel Washington. And not just because of me, but my whole cast, that generation stands on your shoulders. The daily battles won, the 1,000 territories gained, the many sacrifices you made for the culture on film sets through your career, the things you refused to compromise along the way, laid the blueprints for us to follow. And so now, let he who has watered be watered. Let he who has given be given to. It is an honor to now know you, to learn from you, and join in this work with you. May God bless you exceedingly and abundantly more in what's in store than he ever has before. God bless you.
Now the reason why I wanted to actually show that, because man, you got to see the mashup when it came to the actual how they did the cuts between him and Denzel and all the movies from Glory to what he was doing with Jackie Robinson 40, all of that stuff, and it was a culmination of a lot of things. But I just wanted to get you guys' 2 cents into it, of how you guys' with your thoughts of it, and I'll bring up the rear. We just enjoying it, and I like to say rest in peace to Chadwick Boseman. I pour you a glass. I'm not pouring anything on the concrete because it's Rona season, and alcohol is expensive. Right there. All right, go ahead. Go ahead. So anybody can weigh in on that.
Okay, let's start off by saying you have one man giving back to his community, which allowed another man to give back to his community later on. Check how that chain goes.
That's when you talk about symbols of brotherhood, fraternity, heroism and sacrifice. I mean, you could see hundreds of stories like that, coming out of Denzel Washington's history.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at it, where Denzel Washington get his start from.
Mm-hmm.
So Denzel Washington, he got his shot from was it Spike Lee?
Spike Lee, but it was Sidney Poitier.
Oh yeah, that's right. That's right. Sidney Poitier was first, and Spike Lee.
Yeah.
And so this is what you had was this reciprocal effect. Sidney Poitier kind of being the standard for I'm not going to take any uncompromising roles that make black people, especially black men on film, look buffoonish, caricature, like Spike Lee. He did the same thing, most of his career, except for that whatever he calls that thing he's doing with the Shy. All his other films have been like, deep, impactful, kind of profound. Whether it was School Days or Malcolm X. Like we remember Denzel Washington in Malcolm X when he was in jail, right? And this the same brother who did all of these groundbreaking things, and yet the thing that he wins his Oscar for is for when he plays a corrupt cop in Training Day.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and mind you, and Denzel, family man, community-minded man, married to the same woman for what now, 24, 25 years?
Mm-hmm.
He's the only black actor who's never, I wouldn't say the only black, if there's another black actor that has never took a compromising role that made black people look like caricatures, buffoons. I don't know.
So you're saying that Denzel got married?
Yeah, like 25 years ago. Yeah.
I'm just saying he been married to the same woman, and he ain't yelling about she hit the wall.
To where the next generation of him, like, this is a brother who's not his son.
Mm. Mm. Mm.
Right? This is a brother who's not his son, but yet he sees that there's an imperative drive that is compelling him to invest in the life of this young man.
Well, no. See, y'all messing me up. I keep hearing from these dudes, them over there, that that if it's not my son, it's not my responsibility, right?
Mm. Mm. Mm.
But if it's not your son, if you're gonna carry it like that it's not your son, it's not your responsibility, then it is also not your place to complain.
Mm.
See, when you keep getting the same poor outcomes. See, one thing about the thing with Denzel is this is a person who understands and has seen the poor outcomes and has dedicated his time, life, money, right, to try to influence, inspire, and even with his own power, money, and influence to try to make that change, even with the people in his own vicinity. And Chadwick Boseman is a prime example of that, right? And Chadwick Boseman, what does he do? He goes on to do the same thing, right? When the Black Panther thing, comes onto the table, right? Look at who he brings in.
Mm.
You see, he now, mind you, Chadwick Boseman is a black Brit, right?
Yeah.
But he doesn't feel comfortable doing it, doing the Black Panther role unless Michael B. Jordan is in it. Why Michael B. Jordan? Why is when he's Michael B. Jordan there? Well, him and Michael B. Jordan have a history. If you remember The Wire.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so, like, this it's this reciprocal kind of thing, right? Where there's a cycle to this. You can't complain about shit unless you're trying to make an effort to change it, unless you want to make an effort to change it. You have to commend Denzel Washington because Chadwick Boseman is not the only person that he did that with.
Yeah. And and you're right. Like but the thing he said, and it was stuck out to me with a lot I hear in those spaces, is he didn't take a second thought. He didn't challenge. He didn't want to see extra.
Right, well, why I got it? Right. He didn't go, well, why I got to pay for the boys' the semester? Well, why can't somebody else do it?
Well,
he should already be dead.
Well, but the person that asked him was the classical, prototypical archetype of the strong black woman 1.0, 2.0 on television, not the mammy, was Felicia Rashad.
Well, you got to remember Felicia Rashad. For who Felicia Rashad is on camera is who she is off camera.
Yes.
That's why because of her genuineness, that's why we loved her so much. As a matter of fact, if it wasn't for Felicia Rashad, the Cosby Show would have ended after the fucking pilot episode.
Yes, it would have. Yes, it would have. And to be perfectly honest with you, a lot of y'all don't realize, because this is old school. Felicia Rashad and Ahmad Rashad, which was her husband that used to do NBA inside stuff, they've been divorced for about 15 years.
And you have never heard her throw that man under the bus.
And you've never heard him throw her
under the bus. And
she still carries his last name. And she is still known as Felicia Rashad. And he is still Ahmad Rashad. And Ahmad Rashad had an illustrious football career. He's a Hall of Famer. He had an illustrious he the one that paved the way for athletes to actually have a career in broadcasting after their playing days. He was the first athlete to actually have that conversation. Then you got the Terry Bradshaws and things of the nature. He played football. He was doing basketball.
And what it was she saw something in him, right? That reminded her of either herself or some great man in her life, because you don't get a woman like that unless she had a great man in her life.
Exactly. And this is the dichotomy. And and here's another thing. There's a movie called Tenet that's out. That's starring Denzel Washington's son.
Oh yeah.
It's a great movie. They're making a second one, right? It's a great movie, right? It's like it's the guy that made Inception. It's a great movie. They got an all-star cast. No one knew he was Denzel Washington's son until they did the premiere for the movie. He said he didn't want no one to know that was my daddy, because I wanted to get it on my own and I didn't want no one to give me anything. But that's not really the reason. If he made a misstep, he didn't want to tarnish his daddy's reputation. Now, if you can't say you raise a man that want to stand on his own 2 feet and not work on the boot heels and tarnish your father's reputation of what he built because he's that great of a man, and you want to pave the way, and once you get to that echelon where you feel as though there's some respect there, and he was an NFL player. He went to the NFL, had a nice career, and he's a hell of an actor. But you don't hear, and the reason why I wanted to say this, y'all, Denzel didn't beat his chest and say nobody's giving me credit, right? He didn't do that, right? He paid it forward. Felicia Rashad wasn't up there beating her chest saying I did this, that, and the third. Denzel Washington's son didn't do it. But the reason why I want to talk about Chadwick Boseman was this man was going through colon cancer, stage 3, for 4 years. He didn't say a word. He just went and did his job, and he never once complained. This is colon cancer. He had cancer. He's going through chemo. He's shooting the Avengers. He's shooting Black Panther. He's shooting the Infinity Wars. He's doing all of this stuff, and he never once publicly complained, ran a drive, talked about his cancer, none of that. But y'all up in here complaining about the lack of submission that you're getting. And the submission is opening them legs for them sweet sugar walls. I'm sorry, I had to just throw it out there.
I mean, you know, Chadwick Boseman, right, played two of the greatest black icons.
Mm-hmm.
Jackie Robinson and Thurgood Marshall.
Yep.
And then he goes on to play, Black Panther and James Brown. So three of the greatest black icons.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot about the James Brown film.
Yeah.
But something interesting, because Hollywood, I was talking to y'all about this just a while ago. Hollywood's slick than a motherfucker.
Oh yeah.
Now y'all have heard me talk about the 761st Tank Battalion. The 761st Tank Battalion during World War II was known as the Black Panthers. They were so fierce in battle. This was the same tank battalion that whenever the tank broke down, they commandeered an enemy tank to attack other enemy tanks. That's how badass they were. One of the greatest, most notable members of the 761st Tank Battalion was Jackie Robinson. Before Jackie Robinson played baseball, he fought in World War II with the 761st Tank Battalion, which was known as the Black Panthers. So I thought it was interesting how he plays Jackie Robinson and he goes on to play Black Panther.
That's not a coincidence. I'm pretty sure it's not.
I know it's not a coincidence. I know it's not, because Hollywood's slick as hell.
See, the thing is, the way and the spoiled internet generation of humans, but I'll just say in general, the spoiled entitled generations of humans, starting with young Generation X and younger, they fail to understand the way things used to work. Because what we're talking about that Felicia Rashad did, that I was going to call it Malcolm X, Denzel Washington did.
It's okay, we know.
Right? I don't know, man. It's just stuck in my head. I'm telling you. I mean,
he did a good job, right?
He did a damn good job.
That's Denzel Washington. Nobody else can do Malcolm X. Leave it alone.
Yeah, no one. I'm sorry, you'll ruin it. He's incredible. But what all of these, that's just what people did. Just like if you look at all of the stars that were stars, like when I was a kid or young teen, right? Aaliyah. Who's Aaliyah's aunt? Gladys Knight. So what did Aaliyah do? She was singing backup with the Pips, right? I mean, these are things that people did, right? So and if you didn't have family member or whatever in the industry, right, then you had a friend of a friend is friends with your aunt, and they're going to give you a shot or whatever. And if it wasn't for them, you would have no career. But they didn't run around claiming your success, because what they recognized is that as Black people on this continent, you have to work twice as hard to not even get half as far. And if we don't have each other's backs, no one has our backs. And they recognize that this is the way things work, period. So we have to almost artificially create connections and relationships with each other to bring up promising people in our community. Even if it's not my nephew, my niece, my cousin, my whatever, but they're a promising person in our community. And when one of us looks good, we all look better, right? When our bottom is raised, our top is raised too. So they recognize that, and so they just do that. The amount of people, as y'all have said, that Denzel's helped, we wouldn't even be able to go and point them out. But it's not just him. Like Felicia Rashad, I'm sure this is not the first one or the last one that she's referred to Denzel or to other people. And this is the way things work. But see, when you come from a selfish, spoiled, in rugged individualism mindset, then what ends up happening is, and I understand y'all, because you're bitter because you weren't born into a family of privilege. You weren't born into a family that's going to help you. You weren't even born into a family that cares. I get it. Fine. But see, a lot of other people weren't either. And what they did was they went out there and they found like minds, like this young brother. I mean, you think about that, right? You could be like, oh my God, he's just so dang lucky. Or you could recognize that, he had something. And then you know what? The person he was, his persona, that what we just described, stage 3 colon cancer, you're that hardworking, you're that dedicated, and you don't feel walking around feeling sorry for yourself, begging everyone for attention and whatever. I mean, that already speaks to the character that he was. So when you have that kind of character, you naturally draw people in. You find other good like minds and they're going to want to help you. So you could have gone that route. People can go down that route, but they don't. Instead, they choose to get bitter. They choose to get angry. They choose to want validation because they stubbed their toe with their poor toe. And doesn't anyone understand? Their life is so hard. Look at my toe, right? And that's it. And they're going to stay on the bottom. They're going to keep their self inside their little glass prison. Looking out the little glass prison walls and thinking that they've reached somewhere and trying to stomp everyone down below them so that way they can feel like they've accomplished something. And they don't realize that that's not the way things work. And that's why for a good while, we were moving forward. We were able to basically, anytime they came for us and they tore down what we built, we were able to fight against that and build again, right? And to rise again. Right? There's a whole bunch of factors that come against the fact that we kind of got stuck after the crack epidemic and whatever in the 80s, right? But this is a big one because after that, this generation, the young generation Xers and everyone younger is in this selfish, individualistic, poor me, why won't anyone help me? My parents should have this, my parents should have that, if only this, if only that, instead of checking themselves and coming with a different perspective.
Hey, let me throw something out there. At the age of 18, your parents' obligation to you ceases, and you are now in charge of your own choices. Any choices you make at the age of 18 are your choices and your choices alone. Which means, at the age of 18, you got to be responsible for your choices. And second of all, at the age of 18, you can't blame nobody else for your problems. Yes, there are going to be situations that you don't have control over, but you know what? You do have control over your reaction to those situations.
That's true. I would go younger, to be honest with you. And the reason why I would go younger, I'd go 15. You know why? Because in most states, 15, 16 pushing it is when you could go to a doctor. And for example, they'll give you birth control without your parents' consent, amongst other things, right? They'll give you an STD test without your parents' consent. There's a whole bunch of things you start doing when you are 15, 16 years old that you can do without your parents' consent, without your parents' control, without your parents' support. Right? There's a whole bunch of systems that are out there set up for you to be able to function independently. So while I don't think you're fully baked and you're fully formed, but did you have enough individualized access of your own accord at 16 years old that you could have made wiser, better decisions? And you could have protected yourself, for example, from having that kid with that crazy person that now you're sitting there all bitter about, or whatever the case is, right? You had the ability and the access to do so. So I'm sorry, but at 16 years old, I don't think you could turn around and be like, well, my parents are terrible parents still. I'm sorry, you're still too old. You're still too old. 15. That's my age. 15.
Well, you gotta also think, right? Like it also speaks to the character of Felicia Rashad, because you got to remember she's putting her reputation and her relationship with Denzel on the line. Right?
Yeah. That's her reading, but see, she's been doing that a long time in her career. A long time. She's probably been doing that a long time in life. And the reason why he took that referral so readily, why, is because she has been a tried and true, tested person who knows how to use her women's intuition to read the right signs in a young person and say, yep, he's got that special quality and he's a good bet, or she's a good bet. And so, you know what? She's established herself as being that person that has that IQ, that identity. And so she's trusted. And I'm sure a lot of people, you know, if we really look into it, there'll be a lot of different referrals that happen to different people, and it will all be the same thing. Oh yeah, no, her woman's intuition is way strong, right? That's that's a woman's superpower.
Exactly. And you know, and to give that, just a cause, this is the thing that because what we hear in these streets, just to wrap, I'm gonna come in the tail end and wrap this segment up on this part, and then we're just gonna move to something else, because I found something else that was interesting. And I'm trying to touch everything that kind of happened in August and bring people up to speed, because I'm like, we have to set. I'm like, well, let's just play like it is. The Grey regime sets the tone in the other spaces of YouTube. And so since we're going to be the flag bearers, we're going to set the tone on something else. And even though this is a panel, there is some structure to it. But the one thing that we do as Black people with excellence, with the Black nobility, Ebon Noblesse, is we make something that looks complicated effortless. So what I wanted to bring is, we keep highlighting this dichotomy of the Black man and the Black woman and right? And that's not real life. Because if that was real life and it was as bad as you said, we would have been extinct a long time ago. Right? Now we're in the endangered species list right now. Okay? But we would have been extinct a long time ago. Okay? We are fighting against a lot of things. And I like to highlight excellence whenever, right? And we got some time, right? We got some time, right? We can stay up late. Like Auntie Shaw don't got the belt making us go to sleep. We ain't gotta go to school in the morning. We can stay up late. We can act a fool, and we could do what is basically necessary. You know what I'm saying? We could do what we need to do, right? But far as a lot of things. So be it as it may, I'm gonna move this to the next one, and this is Cat Williams. Did anybody see the Cat Williams monologue that he did?
I have not.
Okay.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah, where he talks about, he actually does more in his monologue than the president does.
Exactly. I thought it was getting darker here, and there was some clouds going by, because I got these LED lights. You know what I'm saying? I'm getting fancy, y'all. I'm getting fancy. I need to, but I know Ruby's over there laughing because I ain't got nothing on the walls. There's nothing on the walls here.
I'm just saying though. Hypocrite much? That's all I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I got a whole extra living room back here.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. See that? See that right there? Look. See, look, I'm in another country. Look. My house so big that I got a wrap-around sofa and a whole other room behind it.
Okay. I'll give you that. I was gonna say, you're trying to making your wife look way bad with them bare walls over there in that corner.
Yeah, like, you know what I'm saying? Look at that. You know what I mean? Look, I got sun coming through paper windows. Look at that. It is Cambodian breast milk. Look at it, the fire. Look at this. I got, you know what I'm saying? Look, whole sliding walls and stuff. I'm in like I got to walk upstairs and come downstairs. You know what I'm saying?
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. Look at that. There's too much space in here, though. You know what I'm saying? Too much space in here. I shut that because my son, he's over there, and then the AC's over there. So I'm going to be in the heat while my son is nice and cool.
Aww.
See that? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Shut up! I'm live streaming. My bad. I'm sorry.
You know what? At least they didn't come and take the bread from behind you, right?
Oh no, the refrigerator's on the other side of the
No. You gotta be live streaming from in front of the bread. So when he comes to get bread, you can yell at him.
No, Oh yeah, well yeah, that's true. But we don't keep the bread out. We put it in the second refrigerator.
Excuse me, about second refrigerator. All right then. I see how
Yeah,
you living. Mhm.
yeah, we got 2 refrigerators. All right. Let me play this cat way. All right, let me play this. All right, so shots fired. Shots fired. All right, so all right, so let me play good old cat here.
And things in this world are starting to not fit. Right now, we have a perfectly suitable clown running the free world. We got a guy whose advice included things that no decent crackhead would tell you to do with a gunshot wound. Said if you have bleach, rub it on yourself. Sprinkle something in your eye. You see any UV lighting, walk in front of it. But these are serious times. President's a clown. Who gonna say something that makes sense? As for me and my household, I will. If you need me to say something dumb real slow so you can get it, I'll do that. Watch how it goes. Gravity is real. Huh, wasn't that simple? You notice how people didn't start hollering, well, bananas matter too. Nope, not the time for that. Let's stick on facts. Black lives matter, period. You can say it, you at home, say it. Wherever you are, no matter who's around, just say it. Say it because it's a fact. I want to apologize if some people have seen civil unrest and didn't understand that civil unrest is what happens every time a place is ruled by the people and the people's needs are not being met. Might not be the happy truth you want, but we deserve the truth. Even one of the greatest cities in the world, New York, a place that's got 100,000 magnificent landmarks. Even they have deep, dark secrets. They got an island in New York called Hart Island. It's where the unclaimed dead bodies go. Now, you think I'm talking about in the past, don't you? No. Today. That's what this island is for. It's for death and despair. They got mental institutions and all type of things. I ain't never been there. I don't know the recipe. I'm just saying, some of y'all thought you only had 2 choices, just like this election. You thought your choices was heaven or hell. No, you got another choice, Hart Island, baby. Purgatory, limbo, where you go when ain't nobody claim you. You just died and everybody said, you know what would save a funeral? And while that might be unpleasant for some, it's the truth. This is not the first time a great city like New York has been going through this, and this is not the first time that a great country like this has been going through what we're going through. This is not close to the first pandemic. The last pandemic happened in the 90s. It was called AIDS. That's what filled up Hart Island last time, and here we are again. It's an airborne virus, folks. If you breathe air, put on a mask. And because we can all agree that breathing is important, we can all agree that you putting your knee on a man's neck for 8 minutes. It's just murder. Just televised murder. So now there must be a reaction for that. I'm not gonna hide in a bunker. I'm on the front line with you. For 20 years, I told you, the police is out there hurting people, and y'all didn't want to believe me. Y'all just said, can't keep getting in trouble. The whole time, I was just glad I made it out alive. Finally, the chickens have come to roost. We are going to get rid of racism this time, once and for all, no matter what has to happen, folks. It only must be identified and then worked on. I have no right to tell people to vote, but I will tell you that even if your choices were as dumb as hickory, dickory, and dock, even if those were your only choices, I would ask you make a choice. And if you can't make a choice, go on and put my name on there. It ain't gonna count for nothing considering current legal situations I may or may not find myself in. But I appreciate you. It's time to make changes, folks. You can make them there at your own home. Thank you all. Have a good day. Be kind to your neighbors. You see a sign that says Black Lives Matter? Say out loud, white friends. Sure do. Watch how quickly things start to change in the country. White people, if you're scared about Negroes, I'd like to remind you of something. That anger and that rage that you think will one day be unleashed upon white families, you've been waiting on it for 400 years. We're better people than that. I know what you heard. Thugs, animals, monsters. Nope, better people than that. Not only can we do better, we want to do better, we are doing better. And you're free to join us. Anyway, it's been a pleasure to be here. I kept most of the jokes in quarantine in case you were looking for some laughs. If you got some information out of it, I appreciate that. I have already done more than an elected official. I thank you.
So that was our esteemed Cat Williams. You can tell that he was dressed like Tekashi 6ix9ine with the hair. He had his edges on fleek. Need to send over his hairdresser to some people in these spaces. Moving right along. What do you?
Hey man, you can't leave the beard weed joke just hanging like that, man.
Hey, you know what I'm saying? Hey man, look. I'm trying to figure out how I can get sponsors so I can grow a full intact beard. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to think.
Well, answer me this question: how a gray beard can go to a Beijing beard to 2 inches of growth in 3 hours?
Hey man,
it's magic.
Hey, unless he got that little shop of horror shit going on, I don't know. It's like I'm just saying. But move. So what is y'all takes on this? I'm going to bring up the rear, and I'm gonna open the floor to whoever get it. You know what I'm saying?
Cat Williams is right. How you got somebody, the guy who continually touts, his mental prowess, telling people to go ahead and, inject bleach, saying ultraviolet lights causes cancer, Oh wait, that's right. He sits in those ultraviolet lights. That's why he comes back orange all the time, right? Yeah, I'm just saying, like, these are things that people aren't listening to. Like, hey, maybe I might be wrong. Maybe somebody can tell me that he didn't say it out of his mouth, but it's exactly what he said in a press conference, no less.
In the press
That's not leadership.
Nah, that's not at all. Like that's not at all. Like it was a lot to unpack. He was just he was rapid fire with that 5 minutes of man.
I mean, when the looting starts, the shooting starts, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, why got to be looting the shooting?
Well, I'm like, we already saw what happened, right? You know what I'm saying? The young vigilante getting thanked by the cops, killing 2 people. And the only reason he got arrested, y'all, I just want to say this, is because they were white Black Lives Matter protesters.
Oh, so if there were black protesters,
they wouldn't. Like just like they busted in and shot that black man that was having a get together in his business in Louisville. Right? He wasn't protesting. He was with his family in his place of business, and they kicked in and they went over there to kill him. That was a hit. That was a hit.
Of course, black business owner.
Yeah.
That's an economic hit. If y'all don't know what that is,
that's an economic. That's a political hit. All the above, right? Because you know what I'm saying. That's It's I'm like, the thing with Cat was like when I saw it, like, and I finally saw it because everybody was talking about it because I saw what he had on with the Takashi wear, right? And I saw it, I was like, people like, man, what's Cat doing? And I'm like, and I'm reading these comments. It's like 600 comments, man. I got to the 50th one, and I stopped right there. And someone said, "Did y'all even watch what the man said?" And nobody listened to what the man said. They just saw what he had on. And that right there shows you a lot. Because the minstrel, right? The minstrel is the comedian, the athlete, the actor. They're just acting out what society is going through. That's all they're doing. You're being entertained, but you are the source of the content. They're getting inspiration from life. You are the content. That's the crazy part. People looting in the street. There's a person that is a multimillionaire walking around like he shouldn't have touched crayons. And people are
there's a lot of imbeciles with money. Which kills me about the whole high value man argument, right? Because there's a lot of idiots that are, when it comes to character, they are characteristically bankrupt. I mean, you look at a lot of the guys that's on YouTube crying and complaining, advocating for a black Holocaust, for a genocide. You know, and it's funny because it always killed me how I could tell a person quite directly that I would kill them, but it'd be to that individual. You never heard me advocate for mass genocide. Sure, I have said that we should definitely euthanize or cull a portion of the less than functional population. And the derelict Negro male who goes around prancing and parading this idea that they're thinking black men or that they're somehow, conservative. And they think that they would be exempt from that culling. And they'll be the first motherfuckers that I'd call. Right? And the reason why is because, okay, if you are what you say you are, then what this community needs is your leadership. That is if you're a leader, but every time I hear you come out of your mouth, the women won't let me lead. That rhetoric kills me. And then you tell me that you're a high value man. You're not. Because there's a lot of dumbasses with money. Hell, your idiot in chief is one of them.
I just figured it out. See, what they mean by high value man, I just figured it out, right? Because when you're talking about women won't let me lead, what you're talking about is a bunch of adolescent boys who are saying, Mama won't let me be a man, right? Because she still sees me as her little boy and she still treats me like a boy instead of letting me be a man, while I live in her basement at 27. So now I figured it out though. See, when they're talking about being a high value man, what they're talking about is being a high value son. They just wanted mom to say, I'm so lucky to have you as a son. You are the greatest son. You know what? I'm going to make you a trophy for son of the year. Yes, exactly. That's what it is. That's why they keep saying it. And that's why no matter what good woman shows up in front of them, right, they will always ruin it because they're not looking for a good wife and they're not looking to be good men. They are looking to finally be the world's #1 son. That's it. I got it. Okay. Thank you. It's the way you said it. It just put it together for me. The pieces are there. And see, this is what happens when hurt children grow up and just become grown-ass children instead of becoming adults, right? I understand childhood trauma and childhood pain, just like everyone else. Okay, I wasn't born with the silver spoon in my mouth. I didn't have the parents of the year every year, especially in my teen years. But the whole thing is you have to address that kind of pain and recognize, because here's the thing. When you're a teenager, you think that you're unique, you're an original, and that the world revolves around you. It's a natural thing that teenagers have to go through in life, but you're supposed to grow out of that phase. And you're supposed to come to the realization that you're a lot less unique than you think you are, that your pain is shared by thousands, if not millions, around the world. And that the world definitely does not revolve around you. And yes, all the rules and sometimes extra apply to you. And the world is not fair. Life is not fair. It wasn't meant to be fair. That's not what it's about, right? You're supposed to grow into these realizations as you come into adulthood. And so anyone who speaks in any way other than that, with a clear understanding of those few facts, you can tell they haven't become adults yet. And so adults, unfortunately, they can't even assess real world decisions properly. This is why, to some extent, it's like, there are some 14 and 15-year-olds I think should be allowed to vote. I honestly do. And there are some 35-year-olds I honestly do not think are qualified to vote yet. Right? This is how you get a bunch of morons in office, right? Because you have a bunch of childlike thinking. Well, I'm not going to vote then. That's still a vote, moron. You're just voting for whoever is the most popular currently by you not opposing them. So if you don't oppose Trump, then Trump is going to win. So if you have a problem with Trump being in office, then you better vote against him. Now, with that being said, if you're only going to vote against Trump, and so you're going to vote for anybody else, and you haven't bothered to look into the issues and voted on the issues, voted on, hey, listen, no one really cares about Black people, so let me vote on some issues then. What's going to work out best, do I think, in the long run for us? If you can't make those types of decisions, then you're not qualified to vote yet. You're honestly not. It's the reason why, yes, am I terrible for not voting ever in my life? I'm not even registered to vote. I don't even know how you would get registered to vote. But I also don't think I'm qualified to vote. Why? Because I don't know anything. I don't know anything, and I don't care at all. Yeah, I don't know anything. I would have voted one time ever in my life, and if it was when I was in mayor, actually, no, twice in my life I would have voted. I would have voted for the mayor of Mississauga if I had had any doubt that she would lose. When people finally decided to run against her, I would have voted that year, but there was no way she was losing. The only reason why she's not the mayor of Mississauga anymore is because she retired, because she's like 150 and an alcoholic. She's still the greatest mayor ever. No, seriously, she's the greatest mayor ever. Like, our city has gone to shit since what's her face is now our mayor. Anyway, but the second time I would have voted for Obama, and I would have voted to have a Black president. That was it. It wasn't on the issues. It wasn't on anything else. It was Black president. That was all I would have voted for. I don't think that people like me are qualified to vote. I don't, right?
I'm like, just to be honest with you, when you vote for the candidate for your own self-interest. This has nothing to do with the policies. You don't care. The candidates get up there and they bloviate about a myriad of topics. It's like taking something and throwing it against the wall and hope it sticks, right? Mm-hmm. And just like you would vote for Obama because he's Black, because people ask me, like white people would ask me, right? Because white people, you can't ask white people who they vote for. They get offended. Right? They get offended.
That's true.
Pre-Obama, why are you asking me that? This is like, this is like asking what their sexual orientation was. Like, why are you asking me that? Business, right? Now everybody got to tell you who they voting for, right? But when they would ask Black people, are you voting for Obama? Yes. Why? Because he's Black.
Yeah.
And then they would look in Black people's eyes and we would just give them the blink. Like, what? Well, Obama's on his policies and this, that, and the other. I don't care. Why? Because he's black, right?
It's so true though. They don't care.
But you know the funny thing about that, Dre, is that they actually ran with that in the mainstream as a talking point. Like, because the black constituency only vote for Obama because he's black.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It was like,
but I love what you said. Like, and we blink at you like so.
They didn't vote for the previous 43 presidents simply because they were white.
White, yeah.
Listen, I wanted to tell people this. I said, listen, I told a white person this. I said, listen, let me explain something to you, right? I said, yes, you need to care about the policies. I need to care about representation, right?
Yeah.
And we, as the minorities, are just a tiebreaker. You only care about who we're voting for when it looks like it's going to be even. And it's going to be even. Who are the black folk voting for? Because that's the only time you care about the black vote is when it's about to be even. When you need that extra little push. And you might give us something, but you're not going to enforce it. We know how this works. It's like black people are like an abused spouse. Right? The only difference is this isn't like the abused spouse after 1960s, 1970s. This is the abused spouse in the 1800s. You get the smack of the back of the handeth. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I would, like, your parents is like, I wish you would. I wish you would call the police. Like, that's how black people are in America. Yeah, it's recommended that you don't kill your wife, but you can. Like, it's recommended. Like, that's what it is. Like, we went from getting beat up, sent to jail for 30 years to, they getting reparations because they can use DNA. Well, let's just execute them before they even get to the court system. Like, it's like they keep moving the goalposts, right? Until it is what it is. But what I like to do is I like to welcome Vonda to the panel here. Hey, Vonda.
Hey, girl. Hey.
Thanks for having me, Lady Vonda.
Thank you very much. I appreciate
Good evening.
having me.
Welcome.
Hey, Audra.
Hi. What are we drinking on? Zed. This evening.
Just a little bit of red wine. That's really all I do is red wine in the evenings.
Okay.
It kind of gets the mood set for me.
Keeping it classy. All right.
Like classic Ruby. Hello.
Hello, darling.
Yeah. I'm gonna do something that I normally don't do. I will drop the link. This is an open panel. I will drop the link in the chat. If you know you can't act right.
I was gonna say, I am not in the condition right now, DeAndre. You know how I am when I'm sick. I am too ignorant. I should not be talking to the general public in this condition.
It's okay. It's okay. I drop the link.
If they don't act right, go ahead and cue the bone crusher.
Yeah, it's real. I don't. I don't negotiate with terrorists, foreign or domestic. If you can't control yourself and have a conniption fit, I won't say anything to you. You will just be gone. You know what I'm saying? And shout out to Don Teasy Iori. What's going on, man? How you been? And so forth. So let me check who we have in here. Okay. Add you to the stream. What's going on, Iori? What's going on? But Vonda had the what's going on?
Hey, what's up?
Hey, what's going on, fellas? How's everybody doing?
We doing fine. Greetings.
Hey, Iori.
What's up? What's up? Is that Ruby?
It is Ruby. What's up? How you doing?
What's going on? Yeah, it's been a while since I saw you because I don't see you on what's his name? BMT's panel.
BMT, yeah. I've been really, really busy. I know. It's been a long time. How you doing? Hope you're doing good. Yeah.
Yeah. No complaints, man. No complaints at all. Yeah.
Now, we're gonna let Vonda touch the mic here, dust it off. We're gonna give the esteemed lady Vonda the floor here, and then we'll go to or if you don't know what we were with this part of the segment that we were touching on. We just played the Cat Williams monologue that he did.
Okay.
If you didn't see that, you know, and so forth. Yeah, we Steam Lady Vaughn, and then you get to touch the floor. And what I do is probably let everybody roll on a subject for, you know, an hour, and then we just move to the next one, and then we just talk about something else and stuff. We just sitting here drinking, having a nice little session, you know what I'm saying, and enjoying it.
I got you. Yeah, like usually I miss these, so that's why I'm like, yo, like I was actually surprised. So just wanted to say what's up. That's all. That's all.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No problem, man. Just we'll just go down the line and stuff like that. So, Steam Lady Vaughn, let's get your take on it. We like to hear your wisdom and your knowledge and your perspective from this.
Well, when you guys were talking, I mean, what it made me think about is, I don't know if you guys saw when Ice Cube, he spoke, you know, and Ice Cube usually doesn't, you know, do too many, you know, things, you know, out in the public and whatnot with regards to, you know, politics or anything like that, you know, and, you know, he was saying to stop, you know, just giving your vote, you know, make them give you something back in return for your vote. Right. And that's not the first time, you know, we've heard that, you know, that's been spoken about, you know, several times. So, you know, when you hear that, okay, how are we supposed to do that? How, in what way are we supposed to go about getting them to give us what we want for our vote when in most cases, you know, and we're talking about for Black people, because there's really been nothing on the ballot for us. You know, nothing has been done, you know, for us. So if we barely can even get along with each other, you know, even in a small space like a YouTube, I mean, on a global level, you know, or even just United States level, how are we going to come together and get them to give us anything for our votes? Or do we just not vote? Because I hear a lot of people saying, you know, well, you know, with the Biden and the Kamala Harris, well, you know, you don't want Trump again. So, you know, I'll take the lesser of the two evils. And for me, that's not even a good option.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want them either.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm gonna tell you what it really is, and Black people don't understand how this works. We had the Civil Rights Act, right? They don't enforce that. Affirmative action, they give it to somebody else. The problem is when Black people get anything, we don't hold the person accountable, or we don't keep the foot, you know, on the neck. You know, no pun intended to George Floyd, but I'm just saying, you have to keep after them, and the only way that you can do that is that you do it when you're messing with their money. You have to be an asset, not a floating liability or a tiebreaker. You have to be ingrained. Like when they came after them Asians and them Asians sat up and said whatever they need to say, they backed off, right? Remember, like we was laughing, up. Now you know what it feels like to be Black Asian people, and they straighten their butt up so quick. Now they back to killing Black folk in the middle of the street.
Hey, now, mind if I throw in that NBA, what the NBA is doing right now?
Yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead.
So you've got the NBA right now where they went ahead and boycotted the game, right? Because they said, hey, nothing's being done on a legal level, on a fiscal level to stop this. We keep dying in the streets, and you got 70% of the NBA players are Black. We could be next. And what does that mean? You got people from the NBA stepping up. You got comedians stepping up. You saw Dave Chappelle's special before Cat Williams did his. And what you've got to say is, hey, at some point, somebody's got to step in. Somebody's got to take action. And for the first time in what seems like forever, you've got these different groups who say, no, I'm going to take action. Like from the NBA, you know, when was the last time you heard of the NBA saying that we're going to strike outside of for their own money? They're saying we're going to strike and we're not going to go ahead and play because Somebody's dying in the streets. When was the last time you heard of that? Ever? But they're stepping up and taking action, so why can't we step up and take action with our vote?
You should. You should. You know.
But the action needs to be more collective. You know, it can't be four people doing it. It has to be a little bit, you know, further reaching than that.
No, I agree with you, Rhonda.
Well, what you have is people that don't understand the way politics really works.
Mm-hmm.
They think it's just a vote, and then you're done. Go ahead, dust my hands off, and go home. Everything will be fine. I voted today. I got my little gold star from kindergarten, and
right.
Yeah, did a good thing. Yeah. Nope, you didn't.
Right.
The politics is a three-pronged stool. One part is organizing, because all politics are local. So you have to be organized in your locale. That's advocacy. That's constant campaigning. I mean, I did that shit for like 6 years. It's a very tiring process. It is. It's a lot of volunteer work where you're not going to get paid. As a matter of fact, when you're doing your volunteer work, a lot of money's going to come out of your pocket. You know, like you go down to the guy who's running for mayor and say, hey, how can I help you? Oh, I need these flyers passed out. I'm not going to fucking pass out flyers my damn self. What I'm going to go do is I'm going to see these kids sitting out on the corner on their bikes and stuff and say, hey, you guys want to earn $50? I need you to go staple these to some power poles. I want you to put these in people's car windshields. And then you know what? You go across town, find another group of kids, or hell, it might even be grown-ass men. Hey, you want to earn $50? You know the guy that was just standing outside of the convenience store who was asking you for some change? Say, hey, instead of asking me for change, how about you earn $50? I need some flyers passed out, put on car windows, yada, yada, yada. Right?
Yeah.
So that's part of the campaigning phase. The other part is when you get the campaigning, what are you doing with the campaigning? The idea is to bring in people so you can make money. Now, why do you need this pool of money? You need the pool of money for your petition for the campaign side. But what does the petition do? It states your demands. Oh, yes, because politics is an exchange. The politicians are demanding your vote. They're asking for your vote. Okay, if somebody's asking you for something, that puts them in the position of weakness. Yes, the politician is in a position of weakness because he needs something from you, and he's asking you for it. Or she. Or she's pulling out, bottles of hot sauce for it, whatever. Tabasco sauce. So because that puts them in a set of weakness, now it's time for you to demand something. Okay, what we want is this bill to enforce, well, it's not the 60s anymore, but guess what? Anti-discrimination laws are still unenforced. How about some of the police reform laws, some that I suggest? Like, for instance, during the 80s and 90s, specifically the Bill Clinton administration, black folk, a whole heap of them, got rounded up as a result of the 3 strikes law. Now, in law enforcement, why is that so ironic? Because I think that's the same way that police departments should be ran. Police, hey, you get 3 serious complaints, you're out of here. No need to explain. No qualified immunity, none of that. It was the thing that convicted the black community. How poetic do you think that would be, that the very thing that had convicted an entire community over what was the crack epidemic is the thing that liberates it by using that very thing, that very same policy to convict the very police. So that way, instead of waiting for a guy who's had like 30-something complaints, serious complaints against him, to put his foot on somebody's neck for 8 minutes and kill them, murder them in cold blood with his hands in his pocket, you catch him at the third, because 3 strikes, you're out. See, that's a policy, but you know what you need? You need money. And why do you need money? Because, one, your ongoing campaign costs money, organizing costs money, hiring street teams for more campaigning, mass campaigns, handing out flyers and setting up events, that costs money. And then you're going to need to give your candidate some money, which I know a lot of people don't like to hear it.
Hey, something's got to grease those palms.
But you know what? The pastor of your church knows this, which is why he doesn't mind going up there lying to you every Sunday, telling you that some mystical, magical, miracle-making man in the sky is going to come and save you. So all you have to do is leave the fucking will in his hands. Who is also conspicuously ever absent. If you leave the will in his hands, you're going to crash, you're going to burn, you're going to die. However, if you take that will, right, and you start putting money into that will, right, you can steer the ship. And you can say, look, you want our vote, we want this legislation. We're tired of these go nowhere policies. We're tired of the lip service. We want you to sponsor this bill. Not only that, we want to enforce it. Another thing is, when it comes to organizing, a lot of things can come out of organizing. As a matter of fact, so much shit comes out of organizing. You're looking at the evidence of how powerful organizing is just with the FOP. And then not only the FOP, but your local police unions. That what you thought that was a federal program that started? No, that started out from a bunch of motherfuckers just getting together locally, organizing, saying there's a necessity for this.
Yep. Years upon years.
It is not some shit that just happens overnight and say, hey, look, we need to get organized for this, and you better do this because we need to build Rome tomorrow. No, it's ongoing. It's taxing, mentally taxing.
Mm-hmm.
It takes a toll on your health. It takes a toll on your well-being. Hell, it takes a toll on your state of mind sometimes.
Yep.
But when it pays off, it's a wonderful thing, because now that you're organized, you have acclimated people on how to maintain organization. That's how your Project Core got started. NAACP, yada yada yada. These weren't federally funded programs. These were people that just got together and saw that there was a necessity for it. Hell, you have the Hispanic Leadership Conference that happens. They have a 2016 bill. People that see my video on immigration, I talked about that bill, the Hispanic Leadership Program.
Yep.
Where they demanded all these things from the federal government. Mind you, these people don't even have a fucking right to really even be in the country, but yet they still organized, put their money together, created an organization for Hispanic leadership. And I tell, and just like whenever Charles and I got together for the Gray Faulkner Initiative, the main components of it, the main proponents against it weren't black women per se. They were black men.
No, you got to look at this for a second, right? You got people in these quote-unquote YouTube streets that sitting here fighting among themselves, wanting to blame the women, wanting to blame anybody else but themselves, right? As opposed to coming together and taking action and actually making a difference.
look, the black YouTube sector, the black sector of YouTube should be called the William O'Neill tube.
Mm.
You got niggas literally, stuck in female mindset, right? The female mindset. What is the female mindset? You got niggas talking about their high value men. How you get high value men? They're stuck in the dating, mating, yada yada yada. The fucking Plenty of Fish, Tinder, fucking blackpeoplemeet.com, fucking right, MySpace mindset, right?
My gente. Black
yeah, but what I'm getting at here is you got all these people, sitting here, and the earliest tactic, right, that they teach you in warfare is divide and conquer.
Yeah,
and we're sitting here in a state of division, and you got people saying, "Oh, well, yeah, let's blame the women. Oh, it's the women who are politically. What did that dude say? The women are politically something against you."
Separated.
You have brothers talk run around here. I don't know. You gonna say brothers? Why did I say brothers? Yeah, definitely a Freudian slip. You got derelict Negro males. Excuse me. Running around here saying some of the most awkward shit. They say, black women were never our women. And then on the other hand, said, now we got to hold them accountable. If they were never your women, that means they're not your responsibility to even hold to account.
And why do you even care?
And there you go. You know what? Let me step in for a second because Iori, you still there? You still there?
Yeah, bro. I'm just
listening. I want to hear your your take on this because we all stand in the same in the same rhetoric, and when Cerulean says derelict Negro males, he means them over there, DNM, then
yeah,
over there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
I know what you're talking about, bro. I have a decent idea of the type of people you're talking about.
I just want to get, because, when you hear the same thing, from people and stuff like that, from us and stuff, because when Cerulean says derelict, it kind of cuts. Like they have it's like, and Cynthia G says dusty and dominated. It's like, woo, like it's like a shot collar, right? But what are your what are your thoughts?
For me, like I want to talk about the Ice Cube thing first.
Mm-hmm.
Ice Cube is absolutely right. The Democratic Party hasn't given black folks or even normal folks, working class folks. I mean, the Democratic Party or the Republican Party hasn't given either of these people, the backbone of America, especially black folks, anything since since LBJ basically signed the civil rights movement. The Democrats have been basically sucking off that one accomplishment for about 1965 for about 60 years.
Well, wait. Okay,
or however long that's been.
Okay,
right?
all right. I want to take you back in time real quick, Iori.
Go ahead.
How long or how many years were black people mostly identified as Republicans prior to 1965?
Mostly up until they were identified as Republicans until JFK and MLK kind of started that strategic alliance. Obviously, we know why, but they're traditionally considered before that alliance to be Republicans because MLK considered himself to be a Republican.
Wait. I'm saying, do you know when it started?
I do not. Go ahead.
1870. I want you to ingrain that year on your mind.
Okay.
And the reason why I'm saying 1870, do you know what significant event happened in American history in 1870?
At this point, not really. Go ahead and tell me, bro.
Black men get the right to vote in 1870. It was exclusively black men that got the right to vote.
Okay.
In 1870. Well, what do you think happens after Lincoln? When Lincoln is assassinated, right?
Right.
Who becomes the president?
His vice president. I don't know who his vice president is at the time.
His vice president was a Southern Confederate known as Andrew Johnson. As a matter of fact, after the Civil War, that's how the Union kept the Confederates in check.
Right.
They made them vice presidents.
Right.
Or they gave them a certain amount of congressional seats or senatorial seats.
Right.
And the electoral college that you have today is built off of that.
Of course. The electoral college was there to solidify Confederate power. Absolutely.
Andrew Johnson strips all of those voting rights away when he succeeds to the president.
Right afterwards.
Wow.
And see, despite that fact, black people remained mostly Republican all the way up until the Civil Rights Act of 1964. How many years is that?
Roughly close to 100 years.
Close to 100 years.
90, was it?
We haven't been Democrats but a mere 60.
Yeah.
And yet, when we were Republicans, what provisions after Andrew Johnson takes away the voting rights of black folk, what provisions did the Republicans give to black America?
You tell me.
I'll tell you, nothing.
Right.
And as a matter of fact, they did more to take away from black folk. As a matter of fact, they displaced us with industrial agriculture in the 30s.
Right.
They locked us out of the New Deal by putting the newly created Social Security Act, which created the white middle class.
Right.
They locked us out of FDR's New Deal, which created said middle class through the Social Security Act.
Right.
That's why whenever I say during a time where white women were the biggest beneficiaries of welfare all the way up until 64, because that was the period in time where equal protection and equal representation under the law actually occurs, is when black women are even able to draw on the very thing that they had been paying for, which was called welfare. And the reason why they were locked out of because, well, what happened was Frederick Delano Roosevelt left this program, this newly created program that created the white middle class, in the hands of the state. Right. So in other words, you pay federal tax, right? You're a black person somewhere, doesn't matter if you're in the South, you're in an urban center in an industrial area in the North, like Philadelphia or New York, or maybe even Michigan. And you're a taxpayer paying this federal money, and yet you, whenever you come to need it or your family comes to need it, can't even draw on it.
Yeah, you're locked out.
And what happens? They redistribute that money that you pay to the federal government to the states, and they do not enforce the states that you be able to take a part of this new deal. They say we're going to leave it to states' rights.
Right, which is basically saying that you're not going to get it. And basically, Lee Atwater talked about that. How you got all these things like forced busing and states' rights and stuff like that, which is basically akin to saying the N-word, because before you could say the N-word a bunch of times and you could get your point across, and now they basically
why does it take a Southern Dixiecrat like LBJ, despite that black folk have been so loyal to the Republican Party, but it wasn't the Republican Party that got us voting rights, that got us equal protection under the law.
Right.
See, we have to stop looking at things so linear and playing into the mainstream media's hand. That's the other thing about politics black folk don't realize.
Absolutely.
It ain't got a goddamn thing to do with party. You have to look at policy.
Right.
Yeah. And that's
second of all, that all politics is local. No, there is no politics that exists that is not local. Your federal politics are all based on local politics.
Right.
As a matter of fact, it's your local politics that gets you the federal representation. That's why when you see landmark decisions or what you call watershed moments, such as what happened in Asheville, North Carolina, where you had a black woman leading the charge for reparations, saying Asheville is going to pay reparations to black folk in Asheville, North Carolina. Why? Because it was a state issue.
You know, and this is the other thing about that, right? As you know what I'm saying, as Cerulean saying this, and this is where it's going to lead into our next segment, right? And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put this next segment up. I'm gonna talk about it a little bit because it's an article about what happened. We all know what happened with the brother Jacob that happened with him with the shot 7 times in his back. So now they're coming more evidence that came out, right? And I want us to give our critique of this. And what I'm gonna give Iori the first crack at this. Give him the floor, let him, give his insight, right? And this is where we put on the tinfoil hats, right? You can go down a rabbit hole as much as you want. You can come up with whatever you want to talk about. You know what I'm saying, and how we do it. So I'm gonna bring up this article on screen so we can all read it and look at it. Hold on one second. Let me share the screen. And then once I'm gonna just go through the thing right here. I'm gonna put it in the chat also. Hold on. Let me see. Right here. I'm gonna bring this up. Let me see if everybody can see this. Okay, people can see. Everybody can see this.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Okay. So, 2 officers fired tasers at Jacob Blake before he was shot. So, 2 Kenosha police officers fired tasers in a bid to stop Jacob Blake before one of the officers shot him 7 times in the back with a gun. The Wisconsin Department of Justice said on Friday the taser deployments were not successful in stopping Mr. Blake, according to a press release. Blake, 29 years old black man, was shot and was as he opened the door to his SUV in which his 3 children were seated. The agents later recovered a knife from the floor on the driver's side of the vehicle. The department said authorities did not say Blake threatened anyone with a knife. Well, that's a lie because they did say that he had a knife on him, and that's why they shot him. So that's a lie.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
So now they're trying to walk it back. They're using the media apparatus. The department had previously identified Rustin Sicki, I guess that's how you say his name, as a Kenosha officer who shot Blake in the back with a gun. On Friday, the 2 officers at the scene were identified as Vincent Arenas and Brittany. So it was a female officer.
Okay.
Brittany. Right, they're not showing her face or who she is. I can't. These last names, they look Russian or Slovenian or something. Right, they got these weird last names. Right, I can't pronounce these names. I mean, probably third generation immigrants or something like that. The department said that both Sesky and Arenas deployed tasers in a failed attempt to stop Blake. Officer Moronki was at the scene but did not deploy a weapon. So the female did not deploy a weapon, not a taser, not no pepper spray, certainly not no gun. Blake is now paralyzed from the waist down and recovering at Freak Dart. I guess I don't know. I don't know what the hospital in Milwaukee. His family says he is handcuffed to his hospital bed. Now, once that news got out, they unhandcuffed him, and we'll talk about the bail later. No one's heard of a black person with the charges that they had for him of kidnapping, sexual assault, and all of this for his bench warrant being $500. Like, that's not even a white person can get that type of bail for $500, right? Your bail is posted at $500, so it's $50, basically, right? No black person has ever got that in the history. Like, we got a black president and we got $500 bail. Wow, right? So, Siski has been charged. The shooting is under investigation by Wisconsin Department of Justice Division of Criminal Investigation. Now, remember, he was on administrative leave. So the NBA players doing X, Y, and Z, now he's charged, right? And it's Department of Criminal Investigation, right? So that's you know what I mean? That's not internal affairs, criminal investigation, and other agencies, right? So now it's a state and federal thing. So these NBA players got more things accomplished than people marching down the street getting their head cracked open.
Right.
You know what I mean? You mess with the money. You mess with the money, you get things done. Right?
Yeah.
Why did LBJ sign that Civil Rights Act after Martin Luther King got assassinated? Because there were riots going on.
Because there were riots going on.
It wasn't him. Exactly. It wasn't him marching. It wasn't him sitting at the white-only counters. You start messing with the money. You mess with the money, you get things done. Right? So, you know what I mean? I call it liberate.
Yeah. And I was talking to a buddy of mine who was telling me that they were doing a great job marching and all this other kind of stuff. And I kind of felt the same way as you did. I said, look, when somebody starts talking about policy and taking the money out, then we can talk. Because that's the only thing that these people react to, right? Like if you notice with Derek Chauvin, originally the situation was with Chauvin that they put him on administrative leave as soon as it happened. And then afterwards, the governor or whoever it was, that guy said, I'm going to actually push for a conviction and charges. After that, they actually moved to conviction and charges. So this is normal in terms of how they do these things, you know. But the whole thing is, like, there's always reductionism, and I've seen this over and over again. There's always reductionism in terms of what the police do, and there's always things that change, and that's done because the police and the media are kind of attached in a sense, because the media needs the police to carry out their job for reporting crimes, so that way the news knows what crimes are reported. So there's always a connection here, right? And that's what a lot of people don't talk about. And there's always like a reductionism in terms of what officers do versus what is reported. You know?
Well, one of the things I will say here is, okay, name one black-owned news media corporation. Go.
I don't know one. Like, I don't know.
The only one you can
TV One.
Yeah,
TV One. And that's the only one we've got right now. Because when Bill Cosby tried to buy NBC, well, you know, a lot of these.
They blocked him. They blocked him.
And TV
Not only did they block him, but what else did they do?
Send him to jail.
They got rid of him.
Exactly.
Yeah, they got rid of him.
And to be honest with you, with TV, TV One is under the Byron Allen umbrella because he owns the Weather Channel. So basically, it's one thing, right? He owns a network and stuff like that. You're absolutely right, Shadra. We need that. We need our own apparatus.
And you got to look at who actually owns the media apparatuses, right? Look at what happened to Nick Cannon, for example.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you mean to tell me you have black actors, actresses, you have people who can make money for these companies hand over fist, right?
Mm-hmm.
But we're never allowed to own this, which means we're never allowed to control the narrative. So this is why the news can say, oh yes, he had a knife. Oh well, he didn't exactly have a knife, but they deployed a taser and the taser didn't work on him. Have you ever seen anybody that 2 tasers didn't work on?
Unless they were on crack.
This dude was Superman. He was on steroids, and
see, but I've seen this since Michael Brown. You know, Michael Brown with the whole Darren Wilson thing. Like they make these people like King Kong strength, superhuman strength. You know, completely like Black Superman. You can't touch him, man. You got to hit him with a nuclear bomb because you know all kind of shit. So that kind of reductionism of black male like spirit and turning these people into monsters and all this other kind of stuff has been happening since. I mean, it's been happening a long time before this, but I started paying attention to it recently since Trayvon Martin. You know, it's like, oh, this guy's like super strong. He's a 12-year-old kid, but he looks like he's 20. That's why I had to shoot him, right? And then you've got the same.
No. The reason why he had to shoot him was because he didn't follow the police officer when they told him stand down, because he had to be a hero. And when he was chasing that black boy long enough, that black boy turned around and whooped his ass because he's like, leave me alone, I live here.
Right. But what I'm saying is that's the narrative, right? The narrative is always, oh, like he was super strong and you know I stood my ground. That was the narrative in court. It was a stand your ground case, right? Stand your ground is only like one of those things that is like a self-defense ish law, right? It's like, okay, like so somebody was coming at me, so I had to stand my ground. I took them out, and that's how they do that. Same thing with Darren Wilson and Michael Brown. Michael Brown was like, you know, a kid under 18. I don't know how old he was at the time, but the whole thing is like, oh, you know, he was big and strong and burly and like whatever. No, man, these are kids, and it's the reductionism of them being children. We see this all the time, you know. We see this all the time. It's crazy. This is what happens.
This is how people are actually used and talked about. And I want to go down the line, you know, get with you know, everybody's reaction. So last person, I think what we're going to do is I think the last person we heard from Roops. Are you there, Roops? Roops?
I am here. Give me 1 second. I'm playing nurse.
Okay. Vonda, go ahead and step in. It's going to take Roops a little bit. Go ahead. Vonda, anything that you want to give to that narrative?
Well,
being a mom yourself and
well, you know, with regards to, you know, them shooting, you know, Jacob, it just gets to a point where, I mean, I'm starting to think that, you know, we're being shown all of this to, you know, desensitize us, or they're either, you know, doing that, or they really want something crazy to happen. They really want us to, you know, get real crazy with it, because at some point something's going to have to be done. I mean, right now, when things like this happen, nobody has any hope or any type of feeling that anything's going to be done. No, everybody feels like, oh, another black man was shot, unmercifully, with no weapon. Nothing's going to be done about it. It's almost like when I'm getting to the point almost, and I don't want to be this way, when I hear about it, I kind of like turn my head because I'm like, another one? It's like, what can we do? What can we do? And like you say, the only way that they're going to listen is when you start messing with their money.
Yeah.
And we have to find a way to mess with their money. We're Black people. We live in this country. We produce this country. We built this country, and we spend money, in this country. So, at the end of the day, we're made to feel like we're powerless, but we're really not.
Just put it in the microwave.
We're really not. We have more power than what we give ourselves credit for.
Might I interject for a second?
Mm-hmm.
So, Vonda, you asked, what can we do? And I know you went through and said we're not powerless because we do have an economic factor. We also have another factor that was proposed as a solution by esteemed Cerulean Grey. If that was a black officer, what are the chances that man would not be in a hospital bed paralyzed right now?
Pretty good chance, I would think.
So what I noticed just listening to the story that you just played was that that you just read was that it sounded different than I remembered it. So before I had a played nurse, literally, wifely duties, got to stitch up boo-boos. But I decided to go and look up the story because I actually had it bookmarked and saved. So I wanted to see, why am I remembering this differently? So I feel like you said, like, he's handcuffed and he's wanted for a bunch of charges now and stuff. And I'm like, wait a minute. From what I remembered of the story, and I was right, it says here that the officers were responding to a fight, said witness LaRon Franklin. It was some girls fighting. A gentleman was breaking up the fight. When he was turning to get his kids, the officer shot this man 7 times. He does the same job the police does. He protects people from being hurt and let people enjoy themselves at the same time. Why can't the police do the same? So, I'm confused. Lauderdale said Sunday was supposed to be a celebration for their family. When I spoke to him, he had presents in his hand. He was inviting my 4-year-old son to come to his 6-year-old's birthday party. So what I'm confused about is why the story changed. And when I say confused, I don't mean confused. I just mean, like, it's obvious why the story changed, because this is so atrocious. The cops shot into the car with a bunch of small children in it against an innocent man who was literally just there breaking up a fight. And they can't have that story stand as is, right? So they figure, again, yes, they use the media, and they're just going to continue slowly but surely warping the story until the story doesn't resemble at all what the original story is, which is that this man did nothing wrong. He literally is. It kind of reminds me of like when the guy who worked at the shelter went out to go talk to the kid from the shelter who had some problems. I can't remember what exactly was wrong with him, and he put his arms up, and the kid from the shelter didn't. And then even though his arms were up, he got shot. He wasn't the reason why they called. He was complying with the officer's demands, and yet the white kid who was sitting there with his hands down in his lap didn't get shot. No one aimed for him, whatever. But the black man with his hands up got shot sitting on the ground, right? I mean, this is what it reminds me of. It's the same thing over and over and over again. And see, what happens is when we allow them to play with the storyline and we allow them to get away with this, and then we end up just relieved when they decide to drop charges, and we go, oh, phew, well, at least he didn't get arrested.
This is exactly why they went and tried to burn down CNN after they said that George Floyd What did they try to say about him?
They said something about him. They said something. He did something, and then next thing you know, they went to CNN in Georgia, and then they retracted everything that they said, and then you notice they shut up about George Floyd for about a week.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't say no. They didn't say a word about George Floyd, and even Fox News decided to be quiet to a certain degree. The thing that, and I'm gonna let the commander come in here. This is the thing that I want to clue in on. Hold on, let me bring myself in a little bit here. Let me bring myself in here. Had to get a new battery. Oh, that's too much. All right, cool. All right, so you know what I'm saying. The biggest thing, what it is why are they saying the other officers on the scene, they deployed their tasers, right? And the other female officer didn't use her taser, didn't use a weapon. So they were following protocol. He inadvertently, by mistake, grabbed his gun instead of his taser, and that's why he shot him in the back.
Stop it.
See, but in and of itself, the problem is
Grant. That was the same thing they said with Oscar Grant.
Right, but the question is, where was the taser in the original story? See, this is the problem is that in the original story, he wasn't creating a problem. So this is the thing. They're changing the fact that we even debate these points is my problem, because we debate these points so we make their stories sound legitimate. And so when they change it a little bit next time, then we debate those points, and then we make the last story even more legitimate, and so on and so forth. So what we do is we legitimize their bullshit. And you know, and that's what pisses me off about it. And this is how they get away with it. They don't get away with it all at once. They get away with it in baby steps, right? And then they'll release like a body cam, but it's like the one body cam that doesn't show you exactly what's actually happening. All they got to do is add it in a couple sound effects and shit. How would you know?
Yeah,
that's it. Oh, but it's the official body cam, right?
Well, see, they didn't have the body cams on. So what I'm basically, I'm not disputing anything. I'm just basically telling you what they're going to do. This is what they're doing. What they're doing is, okay, so the thing with the George Floyd thing, right? It's blatant, right? The officer was on his leg, dude was on his neck. So now you got to bring the charges up. And they wasn't really trying to bring any charges really until everybody started liberating and flipping stuff over, right? So now they know this is a problem, because soon as it came out, everybody went straight to liberate, right? Now you had the little vigilante, little 17-year-old white dude running down murdering folk, right? And he's with this white supremacist group. So they already linked that together. They had to go arrest him, right? What they're basically trying to say is our officers are trained. We had one officer do something stupid, and he didn't mean to do it, because if you look at these pictures, he's all smiling and they doing this thing like, I want to help people, and he made a mistake. So what they're trying to do in the court of public opinion is he can't get murder one. So if you charge him with murder one, you're not going to win, right? So they're already working a plea deal, because if you do swift justice and he pleads to involuntary manslaughter because of lack of training, you don't get the intention, because you have to prove without a reasonable doubt that he had an intention of killing it.
Yeah. But you know what? Okay, a police officer their job is to protect and serve. You know, they have control over the entire situation. Okay. And you mean to tell me they are such bumbling idiots that you don't know a taser handle from a gun handle?
And the taser, from what I've heard, is that
Amber guy didn't know what apartment. Oh my God, what apartment? I'm in the wrong apartment. All of these mistakes, quote unquote, mistakes.
Yeah.
How convenient.
How convenient.
They always happen to the same people, don't they? It's just interesting to see that.
I just think that is amazing, and I'm sorry, but it's not a good excuse. It's not good anymore. They need to stop with that. It's not good. with the amount of responsibility and amount of authority that a police officer is given over the average, person to make these mistakes. But if I go to school to do some damn hair, I got to do more schooling to get my license than your ass, and you're in charge of everybody. And you can just murder, at will. Doesn't make any sense.
Right.
And the interesting thing, right? You noticed all the smart coons have completely shut the fuck up. Notice the only coons that are really saying shit about it are like derelict Negro males that aren't even in the know. And then you have loudmouth will wishing hopefuls that are shameless plagiarists of real black causes, like Candace Owens, right? That are running their mouth trying to run cover for these things. And then, you have one such derelict Negro male, Mr. Beardweave himself, Bosley for beard weaves, right? One hand, just a couple of months ago, he was shitting on Ahmaud Arbery. And now, earlier today, he's doing a live stream talking about how come our heroes got to die. It's like, because look at what you do.
Yeah.
You're advocating that, your constitutionally granted rights, because you are an American, right, should be violated just on suspicion and accusation alone. You're advocating for that. And then you wonder why the next black man who is not doing anything. In fact, he's the one that's trying to play peacemaker. Right?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
A family man, a community-minded man. Get shot in the back 7 times and paralyzed.
On false charges.
And then not only that, forget that the trauma that his children are going to have to suffer all their lives. See, it's one thing. See, it's kind of like the thing that they talk about with rights and women, right? Like how you going to fix all of these women with these bad attitudes? You're going to take away their rights? It just shows that if you did get power, you're irresponsible. But it's the same way with a pair of legs. How many times, Dre, have we seen or heard about somebody in the Navy getting their leg snapped off from one of those mooring lines?
Oh yeah, snapped off, cut off.
Hell, that shit happened my first year. I wasn't even on the boat 3 months. And a guy full on amputation by a mooring line.
Oh my God.
Because some idiot on the pier didn't do his job. And here is the thing. You had 2 good feet, now you don't have them.
Yeah. The other thing is
now the things that your children enjoyed to do with you can't do anymore.
Yeah.
Let alone the trauma of them seeing you getting paralyzed, getting shot in the back, and then now they got to live with the fact that Pops ain't got legs anymore like he had them, whenever we were growing up, when he was trying to protect us from some fucking asshole with a guns, some thug with a gun and a badge, a wild gunfire, because he was too fucking incompetent to know the difference between a taser and an actual gun.
Right. In this particular time, and probably going even forward, the lesson is that even calling the cops on a situation like this holds outcomes that are outcomes that can never be undone. I feel like sometimes even in situations like this, even calling the cops can lead to ruin. You know, especially when these cops have no idea what they're doing. So it requires a little bit of forethought not to even bring the cops into a situation like this, because we know how the cops treat people. We have records of that.
Yeah, but
So,
you know, you got a white neighbor, a nosy white neighbor that decides they're gonna call the cops because there's a domestic disturbance. These women are fighting on the street. What?
right,
Black man's dead.
right. Yeah, it's.
I mean, you can't stop the cops from being called in many of these situations.
Yeah, man. I know. I'm just saying that whenever the cops can stop from being called, is a good thing, because I don't trust any cop in these types of situations, because I just don't think that they're trained correctly, and I don't feel like they want to actually do the right thing in a lot of these cases. That's the point I'm making.
And I'm going to disagree and say that, you know, if the cop was black, it'd have been a completely different ballgame.
Sure, of course.
And that's why we created the Great Faulkner Initiative.
But the thing is, that's going to take time in general. Like, you know, that's going to take the Great Faulkner Initiative happen.
Yeah, it's going to take time, but that doesn't mean that you stop campaigning for it just because it's going to take time.
Right.
You have to get,
and that's why I support it, bro. I support that.
You have to get people into the, especially black folk, especially black males, especially derelict Negro males. You got to get them into the headspace of taking power is not fucking complaining all goddamn day. You're complaining all goddamn day about not being the choice for women, but you're telling me you're going to let this shit fucking fly. This at some point in time, the insanity's got to fucking stop. Okay. Black men serving their own fucking communities. That is power. That is taking power away that has been indiscriminately wiping you off the face of the planet. But you're talking about women won't let you lead. The least you could do is pass on not you per se, but a derelict Negro male could do is pass on the fucking information and start telling your sons, hey, look, I'm putting this money aside so I can send you to a criminal justice program so you can become a cop, so you can serve your own community.
You know what? I want to say this because today, you know, I just brought up a case that highlights my point here of this man who now let's pretend that their news story is the right story, right? So this guy, you know, he's got warrants out, you know, for something. And so, you know, he's not supposed to be out and about, whatever. And because he didn't show up for court. Let's pretend. Hey, I just covered a story like this on JustaskChar's panel today. And so this white man, though, it's very important that we note that he's a white man, threatens to kill his mother, being very threatening and violent. The police show up. He resists arrest. He assaults the officers, literally striking them. And yet he's brought in. No one shoots him. No one tases him, even though he's physically being violent to the officers. No one shoots him. No one tases him. They bring him in. Now they release him back out into the public, and he doesn't show up for not one court appearance, not the second court appearance. And so they decide to go get him. And when they go get him, he creates a shootout. Not the other way around. Not the police started shooting after him. And no. He started a shootout with the police. Injured many. Now, they shot him, but of course, you know, they didn't shoot to kill, right? They didn't shoot to paralyze him. So he ran away. And then after hours of drones looking for him, they find him. Now, do they approach him like he's armed and deadly and shoot him dead? So that way he's just not out harming the public because we need to be protected from this man that has already assaulted the cops and shot at the cops? No, they bring him in without further incident. No more shooting, no tasing, no beating the shit out of him, no dying mysteriously on the way to jail. No, he's fine. He's fine. This just happened. I'm not talking about something that happened 5 years ago. It just happened like 2 days ago. So why is it then that they can manage themselves, right? When they see a white face, even though the white face struck them and the white face shot after them. Wait a minute. All of a sudden they remember the concept of protect and serve. And I'm sorry, this is going to sound harsh and I apologize. And excuse my French, but you put on this uniform so you can go be a chicken shit pussy? Is that what it is? Like, you're so scared of everyone. You're scared of the criminals who are untrained. You're scared of the criminals who don't have weapons and tasers. Oh my God, you have to protect yourself. Oh, he could have hit you and your nose might have bled. Oh my God. Like, this is ridiculous. It is ridiculous that we validate this in any way, shape, or form. It is disgusting and pathetic. Imagine if your army was full of a bunch of people who ran around scared of their own reflection. Because that's how these people are acting. They are acting like they are scared of their own damn reflection. I can't just sit there and dodge a bullet and protect myself and shoot the guy in the leg so we can take him in. No, I can't do any of that because I'm too scared for my life. And you have no pride within yourself that it doesn't make you feel pathetic and disgusted by yourself that you're going to say that I was so scared for my life from this unarmed black child.
Or
like,
they're
this is
so
what they
nervous. Oh, wait a minute. I'm looking for my taser. Oops. I pulled out my gun.
Right. I'm so scared. I didn't know what to do. You're a cop and trained for this, and you were so scared you didn't know what to do. Then what the hell are civilians calling you for? Civilians are scared. They should be scared because they're civilians. Isn't it your job to not be scared? You want to police? If there was a fire in your building, you're trapped inside of the building, right? And so you're trying to crawl onto your roof or trying to get onto your balcony. And do you want a firefighter to show up, get there, and be like, man, I want to get you on this ladder, but I'm scared, man. I don't know if I can get you down. Like, are they supposed to be terrified? They're supposed to be terrified, or are they supposed to be braver and stronger than you? That's what they're trained for. That's what they live for. That's why they do this. This is pathetic. It's ridiculous.
I don't like, and you know what, Rubes, you said you said something very telling, and you're right. It is pathetic, and it is something that's terrible. And as we roll into our next segment with our next article, this is actually in Charger's wheelhouse. This is something that is very, very telling about some things that's been happening with this pandemic. And, it's our wonderful people from Exxon. It's like every 5 to 6 years, they're always in the news for doing something stupid. Right? So I like to bring this up. And this is when we get into our little financial quarter of this, because finances is another thing that we need to touch on, because we're talking about social issues, but a part of these social issues, finances is a key component of your social problems, because all social problems stem from economics.
Hey, brother, I'm gonna bounce because I got some work to do. But
no problem. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it, fellas.
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, come by. Come back.
Yeah, man. I'll be in here next time. I just gotta finish some work. So.
Oh yeah, no problem. Be be professional, and
All right, brother.
Yeah, all right,
next
you
time,
do
man.
it. No
Take
problem.
Care, bro. All right.
Okay, so let's see if everybody can see this here. All right, cool. I'm gonna read this article real here. I'm gonna drop the article link in the chat. Okay, so Exxon removed from the Dow after nearly 100 years. What it means for investors. So the Exxon was on the Dow Jones and it was removed. So it's no longer a blue chip stock.
Wow.
No longer a publicly traded stock. Now, I remember Cerulean, you was talking to Gino, and he was talking about how the difference between private and publicly traded, but that has nothing to do. Publicly traded and a private institution has nothing to do with stock options. This blue chip, yeah.
No.
So
now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause you and correct you for a quick second, Dre. So it's no longer part of the Dow Jones Industrial Average, aka the top 30 companies in America. And that it's only 30 companies that make up the Dow Jones Industrial Average. Now, Exxon, because of the slump in oil, is no longer on the Dow Jones Industrial Average, but it's still part of the New York Stock Exchange. It's still publicly traded. But it's just no longer one of the top 30 companies because oil prices have gone down in the midst of coronavirus, as well as you had 2008, in which there was, the oil boom, and you had roughly in 2016, right after 2014, 2015, that Saudi Arabia decided they were going to increase their production to choke out the fracking that's been going on in America. They do that, the price of oil goes way down, hits the $20 low, and oil prices have been hovering between $20 and $50 since then. Most recently, because of the lack of demand with coronavirus, these oil companies aren't doing so good because nobody's buying gas. If you're not driving to go to work, you're not buying gas.
And the other thing is, people are going to solar and certain things, and people are using nuclear power, so you're not actually using oil to heat your homes like back in the day, but it would actually go to these.
A lot of people are going into natural gas.
Yep, natural gas.
A lot of people are going to electric.
Yeah, biodiesel,
yes,
biodiesel, yeah. So basically, if it's not for your car, it is what it is. So, and I'm gonna read just a little bit of this. It's just a little snippet right here. You can go into detail right here, but I'm gonna just read this little byline right here. The silver shimmer of Silicon Valley is replacing the oil slicks that once gilded the Dow Jones Industrial Average in black gold. Exxon's removal adds another red flag to a series of headwinds that have pushed its shares down over 40% for the year. This is more pain. Is there more pain ahead, or is there a reason to believe Exxon can turn it around? I've got several friends that work for Exxon. They didn't work in oil fields. They worked in logistics. They worked in refinement and fuel testing and stuff like that. And they got laid off.
Right now refineries can't really push out much more oil, much more gas, because guess what? Which gas station they gonna give it to? The gas station is already full.
Yeah. So, and as Shadra is going to touch on this, I'm going to give the floor to Shadra here because this is his wheelhouse. And I'm going to make sure we put this up on screen for the actual. And y'all can read up on it because this will affect you. This will affect you in good or bad ways. Shadra? Yep. Yeah, there you go. You got the floor.
Well, that's just one of the things that. So you've got oil prices. Oil prices right now are down, and what you're seeing is fairly new lows in terms of the oil prices because very few people are actually spending money on gas. They're not going to work. Nobody's traveling. You've got a lot of things right now that you've got Cushing, Oklahoma, our strategic reserve for oil, crude oil. That's quite literally overfilled right now. So all your pipelines that lead to Cushing, Oklahoma, a lot of them are pushing at a reduced. They're actually doing reduced volumes right now. And As a matter of fact, as long as your end user isn't consuming gas like they normally do, and a lot of people are working from home, so they're not spending money on gas. And that's the ones allowed to work from home. The other people who are unemployed currently, who aren't even working, they're not spending any money on gas. You know what? They're worried about how can I keep myself from, going, not failing to pay rent. How can I keep myself, fed? So, gas is the least of their worries right now.
Yeah.
And it's actually going to affect your gas prices for quite a while, because when people do get back to work, and this is when people do get back to work, there's going to be less people working. As a matter of fact, unemployment rates are the highest they've been in however long you want to call it, because I don't think they've ever been this bad as they are right now. And when people do get back to work, gas prices will go back up. But this is just showing that a lot of your bastions of giant industry, they are actually hurting right now with the coronavirus. But it doesn't mean that the government's not going to bail them out. I'm going to share this one thing. Pipeline, or your oil field, is still considered critical infrastructure, because people will need oil and gas, because you can't. There's not going to be a plane that flies without jet fuel.
Exactly. Yeah.
And there isn't going to be a car that drives without gas until you get to the electric cars, which are Tesla cars. And even those cars, most people don't realize that a lot of your generators or a lot of your power plants are actually running on natural gas currently.
Yeah. Yeah. Only the main cities really are running like nuclear power plants, really. Like, and people don't realize that. And anybody else on the panel that want to, I'm like, for us that are consumers, we're like, yeah, cheap gas, yeah, like, what I'm saying, like, yeah.
Yeah. Well, what you need to worry about is once people start getting back to work, you're going to see a lot of these companies coming back, and when I say coming back, you will see a rise in gas prices before you see a drop. It takes them several weeks for gas prices to drop, but it will change overnight.
Yep.
So what I would do, if you got a gas tank at home, fill it up while the prices are low.
Yep. Exxon will come back with a vengeance. What was the other? It was Shell, right? Because I remember Shell was the big. It was Exxon. I remember they kept running them Exxon commercials when I was young, like in the mid '80s and stuff. Because they had the Tiger commercial, right, with the Exxon, and then it was Shell, and it was Citgo. Citgo, yeah. Citgo was the main one, and then it was the main one, and then it was Shell, and then it was Exxon. Those were the big three, and now it's just Exxon. You just hear about.
See what happened is Exxon. So Exxon goes back all the way to Standard Oil. Standard Oil, remember Rockefeller?
Yeah, there's 100 years. Yeah.
So ExxonMobil is one of the subsidiaries that branched off of Rockefeller Standard Oil, and when they split up his company for monopoly rules, you had Standard Oil of California, I think you had Standard Oil of Pennsylvania, and they made Exxon, they made Mobil, they made, I think, 13 companies in total with what was originally Standard Oil. And Exxon, over time, built their market share back up. They bought out Mobil, so they became ExxonMobil.
Yeah, Exxon. They bought out Mobil D, Mobil One, Mobil. Yeah.
Yeah, MOBIL.
Yeah.
And they became ExxonMobil, and they became one of the largest, oil companies to date.
Yeah. Because I remember Mobil, you would go to because it was like you would put oil, and that was the octane booster that they had back in the day, back in the 80s. Like when people, because that's when I remember there was just as many diesels on the road back in the early 80s as there were what they would call petrol in England, but unleaded. It was more. It was about 50-50 with the diesels and the unleaded. And it was more, and people that had diesels, they were more inclined to have a manual drive car versus an automatic with the unleaded.
You lose torque and power from the automatic engine.
Yeah. So yeah, so you know, I want y'all to like, you know, because we trying to, you know, just run through kind of what was going on and what happened in these streets, like far as you know, gas prices does affect all of us. Because I remember doing that 9/11 thing. Woo, them gas prices, boy. Woo, 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 boy. And I had a 4-cylinder. I thought I was everybody was clowning me until them gas prices went up. All them Lincolns and them, that's when they came out with them Escalades and people was getting them big body gas guzzling Hummer H1s and that boy that 9/11 hit and oh my goodness, people were trading them things in the lot. You can get one for like 10-15 grand on a blue book. Like you know what I'm saying? Everybody went from I got D's on it to everybody went to Fast and the Furious with alloy rims and carbon fiber because they bet on that gas. You know, it was a thing. It was a big thing back then. As far as these gas prices,
It's still a big thing now. You're going to see a little bit of an SUV raise in usage, but people aren't necessarily, well, people are stupid, but a lot of people, once they hit their Prius, right, or once they got their Prius the first time, and they said, wait, I only got to fill up once a month or twice a month. People aren't necessarily going back, and everything has been moving towards a more fuel efficient economy.
Yeah.
Because when gas prices were $3, $4, guess what? People don't want to pay, $100 to fill up their tank. They just don't.
Yeah, I'm like that's a bill. That's lights, water, gas, like you know. I mean that's groceries. Like $100. Like that's
well, on average, when your fuel tanks, well, on average when your gas was $4 a gallon or three something a gallon, it would take $100 to go ahead and buy out to buy gas for your average pickup truck with a 30-gallon tank.
Yeah, for the month. Like I remember I got
well that wasn't for the month. That's at 17 miles a gallon if you had a good pickup truck.
Yeah, good, and that's where that's where the rise that's when it came another rise because if you notice the influx of foreign cars came when cars went from leaded to unleaded because the foreign cars were more adapted to fuel efficiency, right? And then when the 9/11 thing happened and the gas prices spiked or whatever, you saw a rise in the foreign cars again, especially with the trucking. That's where you see all these Toyota 4Runners, Tacomas, and all of this other stuff because they're fuel efficient. You know, you put $40 in a 4Runner, you good for the month. If you
you were.
Yeah, were, yeah.
Nowadays, not so much.
Yeah, because they didn't got Americanized and they didn't tweak them. But when they was coming straight off the assembly line in Japan over into the States, them 4Runners and them Land Cruisers and stuff like that, they were efficient, like super efficient, like that. So this will affect all of you guys. But just if anybody else wants to chime in on this section right here, because when we get when we social issue, everybody like yeah. When we start talking about how much money you about to lose, everybody like boo. But this is a part of the news. This is a part of what's going on that y'all don't see in the back because the government's about to bail them out. Watch. Your stimulus package is about to go to your high gas prices.
You do not forget that Bush and Cheney. You remember that guy, who shot other dude in the face, and had the guy apologize. Oh, I'm so sorry, you shot me in the face, master boss.
Man.
So when we say that, right? You got that was Cheney, and Cheney was with the Bushes, and they just happened to own Halliburton, and Halliburton might end up being a company that's just too big to fail.
Oh yeah. That's So anybody want to chime in? If not, you know what I'm saying, we'll move on to this other topic of Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook.
Sorry, y'all know I can't talk about things like this. I don't know anything about them. Again, why I'm not qualified to vote. Yeah.
That's cool. It's cool. We nerding out, but I have a topic that we all can talk about here, and it's Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook.
All right.
Let's see. Hold on. Let's see. Let me do Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. So let me pull this up real quick. Let me do this here. And hold on. Share. Okay. So Mark Zuckerberg and Facebook. Mark Zuckerberg admits Facebook operational mistake in failing to pull Wisconsin militia group. These are the guys that's behind the young the young man, because he's still a minor because he's not 18, that shot two Black Lives Matter protesters that were white, and injured another one during the protests in I think is in Wisconsin because of the young man that got shot. You know what I'm saying? 7 times in his back in front of his kids. So basically what happened is the Facebook CEO, Mark Zuckerberg, conceded in a town hall meeting with employees this week that the social giant fell down on the job in failing to remove a militia group's calls to arms that had urged followers to engage in violence amid the unrest following the shooting of a black man. It was largely an operational mistake, said regarding Facebook inaction on removing the Kenosha Guard group on the platform, even after multiple users had reported it for violations, until after 2 people were killed in Wisconsin City. So, and I'm not going to read the rest of this, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this here article here, because we like to bring receipts to the table. And I'm going to drop this article here for the viewership, for the people that are watching. I'll be doing that. And I'm going to say my few piece and everybody can chime in and stuff like that. But basically what happened is, Mark, if Facebook, if you post anything, they'll block it if it's too political either way or whatever, right? But this group was able to do this because this group was running Facebook ads. They were paying Facebook.
Oh, that's why it was overlooked.
That's why it was overlooked, because because Facebook was getting paid. And the way the algorithm works, if you're paying, you get to say whatever you need to say, and Facebook will take that money, right? And that's why you get to see a lot of these videos that are being shared, because if you're sharing something that's a paid advertisement, then they'll allow that to work, right? So Mr. Zuckerberg here is going to take the blame. He's going to fall on the sword because the Jewish community, because what do white supremacists hate more than black folk? Because we're on the hill. It's the Jewish community. And they made videos coming out talking about Mark Zuckerberg and calling them out and calling them the task. So his community, because if you look at his last name, I think he has some Jewish lineage in there.
He's a Berger or Stein? What?
Yeah. So he was brought to task. His community held him accountable regardless of how much money he has. And they got all these survivors of the Holocaust to make their opinions known. Right now, we need to understand that black people are still under insurgency in their home country, and we are dealing with a black Holocaust ongoing as we speak. It has never been over. So, when people say why I gotta be with the community and all this other stuff, we have to understand. Yes, you do. So, with that being said, is with Mr. Zuckerberg.
No, we don't have to understand. Yes, you do. What we have to do is look at them and go, okay, so you go ahead and leave the community. Go to any city in America that's 100% white. The next time you get pulled over, right, as a black man, you're still a part of the black community.
Exactly. And this is the article here. I want to hear you guys' thoughts. and stuff like that. And while I'm hearing you guys' thoughts, I'm listening. I'm just letting y'all guys do y'all thing, how we do in the back chats, how we talk and stuff like that. But I'm actually looking for some things to leave out on a good high note. You know what I mean? We got to leave out on a high note, because it's like a lot of gloom and doom. We got to have somebody going in the trees and saving some kittens or something, right? Something, right? You know. So I would like to, relinquish the floor, and who wants to get a piece of this action here.
Well, I have something to say. So okay, Mark is calling this an operational error. So with that being said, I mean, is he putting anything in place so that this doesn't happen again? I mean, there were people that made complaints with regards to this group. And even though this group, was paying for advertisement, did they even take the time to look into the allegations of the complaints that they were getting? What changes did he say he's going to make? Because right now, apparently, he's being called to task, and it's not Black people bringing him, to his feet. It's other white people. So now he's going to, stand down. He's going to listen. He's going to come out with a public statement. Oh, it was just an operational error. This will never happen again. Blah blah blah. So,
yeah, because it was an operational error. They didn't say it was a system error. They said the truth. They operated under the false assumption that if they allowed these people to just talk, that all they would do is leave it at talking. And then instead they use that freedom that he gave them, because, money, i.e. bribes, to, organize a murder. So operationally, he's just going to make a different decision next time. That's the only thing that there is to change. This was human error. Okay, this was not like, oh, the system failed to flag it. Oh, somehow we missed the reports. No, this was human decision. He decided he didn't want to do anything about it, right? Just like he decides to sell your information, just like he decides to allow companies like that Britannica company come in and manipulate the ad space so that way you're tricked into voting for someone you wouldn't actually normally vote for. These are all human decisions. So he can't tell you what he's going to do differently. And even if he did, it would all be lies, because the only thing he's going to do differently, because they were very well aware of this group from day one, from second one, they were very well aware of the complaints, and they were very well aware of the money. And he made a judgment call that he's going to make differently next time, apparently. It's kind of like when you say, like, oh, you ruined it for everyone, like that kind of stuff. Like, it's like, you ruined it for all the good people. That's what happened. He ruined it for all the good militias that aren't going to go out there and murder people, because now they're not going to be allowed to do this. They were all allowed to do this before. Now they're all going to get smacked down. It's going to show you, I bet you, if you pay attention on YouTube, on Reddit, and whatever, a whole bunch of groups are going to get smacked down off of Facebook now that were riding under the radar. They thought they're not under the radar. They just got a special privilege they're not going to get anymore. That's all. And he'll do that for a while to cover his ass for a while. And then things will go back to the way that they were. Because at the end of the day, money is king. He doesn't care about humanity. He doesn't care about people. He doesn't care about how his platform is being used to this, that, or the next thing, just like YouTube does not care. They do not care at all. You know what YouTube cares about? Money. So what do they care about? The bottom line. What do they care about, therefore? Advertisers pulling out. If advertisers never pulled out, YouTube would have put zero restrictions on anything, because they don't care, right? And that's what we have to realize. Like, any other allegations past that, we've been working really hard as a team and restructuring algorithms in such a way that no, that's called bullshit. They knew what was happening.
And And that's what I'm saying. Like they paying for it. They got a lot of funding, and they ain't paying no little like $50 or $10 a week. They was throwing some funds at it, right? And they took them down after the shooting happened of the protesters. After the shooting happened, and then he got called to task because they were arming up and promoting. And this is where they gathered everybody to show up at these locations that have their guns ready to do whatever they're going to do, and so forth. And you're right, Ruby. And this is just, it's just one more of those things where it is what it's just one of those things where we need our own apparatus. And this is why, even on these platforms that we don't own totally or whatever, giving time, giving credence to even speak about what's going on in the news and not each other's business is very important. Is very important because we are very linear in a lot of things when it comes to how we as Black people, as we divulge content and we bring content into play. I was looking for something, y'all, in the news that was something great, outstanding, and this is sad, but it's okay. It's a happy ending to something that's tragic. Okay. So I'm gonna bring this to play. I know Ruby and Vonda and everybody's gonna have something to say about this one. And I'm just gonna read the article real quick, just a synopsis of the article, just a quick snapshot of the article. And I want to hear you guys' thoughts and everything like that. And yeah, and I think this was and then we can, kind of maybe bring it on home a little bit. Far as whatever, because I know Ruby's tired a little bit because she had our earlier show, and Vonda and all of us, and we're all over the place because it is almost 2:00 in the afternoon for me. It is almost 1:00 in the morning East Coast time, almost 12:00 in the morning Central time, and it's almost 10:00 at night for you, Vonda.
Yep.
Okay, cool. Got it. Pow, pow, pow. Look at that. Look at that. I'm good. I pays attention in schools. I pays attention in schools. So let me pull this up. Okay. This is a very sad story. 26 children, one as young as 3, was rescued in Georgia sex trafficking sting. Nearly 40 children are now safe and sound after a 2-week operation involving state and federal authorities in Georgia. The U.S. Marshal Service, with help of state police and local agencies, rescued 26 missing children and ensured their safe location of 13 others as part of Operation Not Forgotten. The agency announced Thursday. This initiative was launched in early August in Atlanta and Macon. These missing children were considered to be some of the most at-risk and challenging recovery cases in the area based on the indications of risk factors such as victimization of child sex trafficking, child exploitation, child abuse, physical abuse, and medical and mental health conditions. Authorities say other children were located at the request of law enforcement to ensure their well-being. The sweep operation, which spanned 20 metro Atlantic counties, also led to the arrest of 9 suspects. 9. Authorities were able to clear 26 warrants and field additional charges for alleged crimes, including sex trafficking, parental kidnapping, and drugs and weapons violations, according to the feds. The ages of the rescued ranged from 3 to 17 years of age, authorities said at a news conference announcing the outcome of the operation. One child had been missing for almost 2 years. Our children are not for sale, and they're not ever forgotten, said the U.S. Marshal Director Donald Washington. Now, what I'm going to say right here is these people kidnapped children. They kidnapped children, but they were brought in alive. I'm going to say that again. I'm going to look at the camera so you can hear me, YouTube, America, or the world. These 9 individuals kidnapped 40 children, sex trafficking these children, a 3-year-old. These are monsters. These are monsters. And what happened? I'm going to tell you what happened. They brought them in alive. So I already know they white. I'm going to just say it. There's the elephant in the room, so I'm going to point out the elephant. They're white. They're white. 2 years, children were missing. 40 children running around. No one thought this was suspicious. In a small town outside of Atlanta where everybody know each other and you seeing all these kids pop up that never belong there. Okay, you got the non-individuals, but I want to know who else was involved. I want answers. But the police do their job. Depends on what color you are. But the police are able, it shows that the police are able to bring in high volatile suspects without killing them. I'm going to turn over the floor because I'm throwing chairs. I'm going to turn over the floor to other who would like to get their hands on this one.
Well, I was going to cover this one today, but then I was like, I want to get more information because, there aren't currently details as far as the named convicted or the named people that are being charged. I think that some of the stories are, some of the things that they imply are iffy. So, for example, parental kidnapping, right? So that's kidnapping where a parent kidnaps the kid. You're not allowed to take the kid or not allowed to take them across a border or whatever, and you do one or both. And so then you're like, okay, so someone kidnapped their own kid to sell them into the sex trafficking ring. Like, I really want more information on this one because, I mean, given how many children were involved, how many arrests were involved so far, it really tells you, and then just the details that they're giving you, it really tells you that something messed up is happening. And what I want to know is whether there is a connection to basically about a month ago or so, there was a sex trafficking ring that was busted up here in Ontario with, I think it's like over 30 people were charged. And, it's across a bunch of cities in Ontario. And so I'm wondering now, you look at the timing. So this big ring was broken up in Ontario in July, and then end of August there's a big ring broken up in America. So I'm wondering if there's actually a connection there, and if there's a connection, which would be great because normally these pedophile rings are global. Like you get some underground black web thing and whatever, and they're all connected together. So the snitches from Ontario snitched on America. Now snitches in America are going to snitch on Britain. The ones in Britain are going to snitch on wherever. And I hope that's what's happening. I really do, because Jesus, it's horrible.
Well, to me, I think I think with these sex trafficking, human trafficking, the trafficking of children, I don't think that these are isolated incidents. I don't feel like, this is just, oh, wow, this is just one area where this is happening. Right now, there's probably hundreds that are going on right at this very moment. They just haven't been discovered yet. So I think what it is that a lot of these groups are part of a bigger organization, because there's just no way in the world you're going to tell me that these children are being trafficked for sex and nobody knows about it outside of the trafficker. Somebody has to know to go there to get what it is that they're trying to buy. So this is advertised somewhere. This is sitting off somewhere where someone is choosing this. They have pictures of these kids and they're like, oh, I want this one. I'm going to pick off the quote unquote child menu, and this is what I want. There's information. This is in a database somewhere. These people are not functioning, just clearly underneath the radar. there's a whole system. I mean,
Yeah.
it's bigger than what we think.
You know what it is, Vonda, though? Okay, so think about it this way. And I don't know if this is going to be a weird example, but so, for example, when people just see me on site, and then they hear me speak for 2 seconds, they don't know anything about me at all. They assume I am biracial with a white mother who raised me, and I'm very white. I'm white culturally, I'm white in my mindset, whatever, right? I got a little bit of darkness to my skin, but that's about it. I'm white. That's what they assume. But once they sit down and talk to me, all of that goes away. And then they suddenly can't remember that they even saw me that way, let alone why they did. Why? Because culturally, both my parents are Black, but culturally I'm Black. There's not any part of it, I'm not coonish, like, you know what I mean? And you just pick up on that from speaking to me, right? Because Black recognizes Black. It's something we recognize in each other. There's a soul we recognize in other Black folk. It's just what it is. So I'm going to say it's the same thing with pedophiles, right? There's a soul within a pedophile that pedophiles recognize pedophiles. Right?
Mm-hmm.
And so they can identify each other, and there's a whole vetting process that they put you through. Right. And even then you might not necessarily be trusted, especially if you went out looking for like minds. Right. This is why cops have a very hard time doing the undercover thing when it comes to these rings. Right. Because the extent to which they will go to make you prove that you're really a pedophile before they will give you a drop of information, even a web link, is disgusting. Right. And the average person ain't going to be able to do it. Or, you know, even for the good of saving thousands of children, would you be able to, you know, jerk off to kiddie porn, or would you be able to touch a kid? Like, there's no way you would be able to. So therefore, that's the thing. We get better at catching pedophiles. Pedophiles get better at hiding themselves, right?
Yeah.
We get better at infiltrating them. They get better at, you know, picking up on that deceit. Because the last place a pedophile wants to be is in prison. The last place on earth a pedophile wants to be is prison. Sure, no one wants to be in prison, but a pedophile really does not want to be in prison. So they get better at hiding. And so that is the thing that and the thing is, they're also almost like sociopaths in the fact that they will never reveal their secrets. They'll rat people out, sure, to get better time, or, you know, blah, 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 and whatever. But that secret of how do you recognize another pedophile, for example, what are you seeing in them? What are those few words they have to speak for you to just know that they're like you? You know, why did you know to let him in? They're not going to divulge that. That's like company secrets for them. And they'll go to the grave hiding that, unfortunately. So it's like all they can do normally involves accidentally. What I noticed with the Kingston one, it involved accidentally catching a pedophile. That is to say, they caught a pedophile on something unrelated. And the search warrant revealed the kiddie porn, and then the deep dive of the computer revealed the connections, and then it was like, okay, well, we're going to throw you into general population for 100 years, or you can help us out, right? And he decided to help them out. And see, unfortunately, that's normally how they break into these secret societies, quote unquote, right? Is accidentally. That's the terrifying part. How many of these things have we not accidentally broken into yet? And
as you say that, right? I think Char is about to touch on this. Do you think that there's like let me say like this? In January, it was the Miko Worldwide thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
When he gets caught up in Dominican Republic, right? He gets extradited back to United States. He had a charge of pedophilia in Atlanta, Georgia.
Could be. Because remember, if you say there's no honor among thieves, there's really no honor among pedophiles, right? Because they will do anything. They will do anything. They will do anything if they can. If they will trade everyone and everything, they do not care to be able to go to prison as non-sex offenders.
Yeah.
They don't care what the charge for. They'll take any charge for life, whatever, murder. Okay, cool. But I don't have to go as a pedophile. Great. Oh, who do you need? What do you need? How much access codes do you need? No problem. They will sell their souls to get out of being a sex offender, especially to children in prison, right? And so I am never surprised when you can track it through the news and you see a bunch of things. So, because the initial person, the very, very initial person couldn't have been like in June, right? It had to have been a longer time ago than that in order for it to hit Kingston. And then, not too long, but not too close. All of a sudden it's hitting America. Like, that shows me that there's a trend there. And if there's a trend between Ontario and America, then there's a trend between that and something else. And I think we could probably sit there and trace it back, and we'll be able to trace it forward too. Absolutely.
And to be honest with you, and to be straight up honest with you, you know what I'm saying, with a lot of things with those trends, that's why YouTube has this new thing with the you got to set your videos for if it's for children or not, because a lot of these pedophiles were actually sending messages on trending videos in code.
Yeah.
And that's why they have this new algorithm thing. That you have to set your videos to, if it's for kids 18 and over, you can't comment on any videos with children on them, any family orientated things like that, and or whatever. So this is to cut back on it because they had to know these trends. But you know that Harvey Weinstein, that Miko Worldwide thing, if they're going into Georgia and this is where it happened and he got all the way to there, he was out there picking little kids out. He was pretty much out there as a scout. He's picking little kids out because no one cares if the kids are not in the continental United States. They don't care. Once the kids leave, they're gone. Right? Ship them off, they're gone. You got a 3-year-old to a 17-year-old? Come on now. That's crazy. Like, and I would like to say this because, it's not that we hate the police. We just hate the police when they're not doing their job. Well, here's a case of the police doing their job. And we just want you to be consistently doing your job. That's it. That's all we ask. We're not asking for anything crazy. When someone does what they're supposed to do, I want to give you a round of applause. And in the Great Faulkner Initiative, we want Black folk to join the police force. We want them to join the military. We want them because this will subside and this will get rid of a lot of things, far as how we as Black folk and the biases, because how are you going to get policed by someone that doesn't know your culture? It's better to have someone that knows your culture police you, right? Like it is better than to have that, and we just don't. We just need to get in that dichotomy. So I'm glad that the police did their job, and they were great. Now, before we leave, I got a couple of things that I want to do here. I want to play this because we need some laughter, right? We got to have some laughter. Okay. So I'm gonna play this. I think this is very funny. This is an old thing. It's very funny. So I'm gonna play this right here. And then we're going to play a little drop for Ruby and esteemed Lady Char. We're going to play a little drop here. Okay. So we're going. What I want to know is, this is just me, right? And this is why I say Black people are really, really talented. How could you do that and be that stone-faced? Like he was in, like he was really about to do that. Like he was like, like he was really hitting it, and he was doing like, and I was like, man, I had to laugh. I couldn't. Listen, we would have had to do that all day for 2 days for me to keep a straight face. We had to piece that together because and he had the fake beard and the mustache. Hold on, wait, we gotta break this down now. We gotta break this down. We get petty.
I'm just saying shout out to the fake beard association of YouTube.
Listen, look at this beard though. Hold on, we gotta get a close up of this beard. Listen, the Frozone dude, he looked just like Frozone. I don't know where they found this dude at. He
Yeah,
looked
that
just
was
like Froze. That was scary. That was horrible.
That one's the most disturbing. The other two are okay.
Now, I say they got a good camera. Look at this beard. Look at this beard. Look at that. Look at that. Look how he's looking in the camera. He is serious about this, isn't he?
I just want to know what bet this man lost.
Like he does this on his YouTube channel because I had to go find this dude's YouTube channel because I thought it was hilarious. Right when I saw it, it was look. Don't. I can't. Who mans is this? Who mans is this really? This is I can't.
If I can be brief,
yeah,
you
good.
know, a whole, you know, I mean, dude's doing what he does. But you know, strangely enough, I myself in my past, you know, 7 years up here in, you know, the frozen tundra, aka North Dakota, I have known at least 2 people personally who've been busted on, you know, that pedophilia sting.
Right. Okay.
Wait, what?
I've known 2 people personally who've been busted on the pedophilia sting.
Oh
wow!
Wow!
One of the guys they caught because of a file that he opened. So they tag certain once a file is tagged, once a file is, you know, once a file is showing a certain, you know, pornographic material that's of underage, that file is tagged, and anybody that goes ahead and downloads that file, it's in their computers. And just having that file puts you on a list.
Oh wow!
Yeah. It was an NBA player named his name was Birdman, white dude. He had the tattoos on his neck and stuff like that. And what happened was I think he broke up with a woman or something like that. And he was playing for the Denver Nuggets. And she got angry at him and she sent him an angry email and he opened up the attachment and it was kiddie porn. And then a week later, he had the FBI. He deleted it, whatever. He had the FBI kick in his door and arrest him on child porn. And stuff. And it took him 2 years to prove that it wasn't him. Like that wasn't what he was about. That's not what he did. And this dude almost lost his whole livelihood. That was like the first form of swatting. Yeah. Like other than calling the police saying you got a bomb, they would do the whole kiddie porn thing. Like, you know, send you an attachment, you open it up and ping. You just like, you know what I'm saying? It's crazy. It's a lot of stuff.
I got a couple gaping a-holes in my time. Really old men bent over and it would just open itself like 7 million times with a sound that you couldn't turn off. That would go, I'm looking at gay porn. I'm looking at gay porn over and over and over again. My friends thought they were hilarious. They're not funny. And, you know, again, it's just like your parents are home and everything, right? And you're like, I just opened an email, you stupid clown. But no, see, I am exactly the kind of person you could screw with that kind of thing because I like out of just this can't really be what this title says, is it? I'll click on it. Like that's why I can't even like open junk mail. Like, you know, like that is obviously junk mail because I get curious. Like, do you think that link really leads to something like that? And then I'll click on it just to see if it does, right? But of course, that would put me into because
one of the guys was actually in a relationship with a single mother that I knew.
Wow, that's terrifying.
So she had this 11-year-old daughter, and you know, they found files of his that had photos of her, videos of her in the shower.
Ooh. Ooh. Ooh.
Wow.
Ooh. That's ugh.
Like now my question is, right? So now this is gonna be a weird question, but like, did you obviously you didn't know, but I mean, was there something off about him? No, I mean when you met him at first, like did you read I don't know. Did you read some vibe off of him that told you there's something not right with him?
Well, I'm sitting there going, why is this dude so interested in a single mother, right?
Mm.
Mm.
Especially since I know her, and I'm not, like not even with my friends did. I'm like, nah.
Mm.
Like
Okay.
she if a chick ever got friend zoned by me, it was her.
Okay. But I mean, as far as as far as him, I guess that's the thing, right? Like in my life experience, I personally have never met anyone thus far, or at least that has been exposed as being a pedophile. So in and of itself, right? Like, I mean, when you see them on TV, you're like, oh, you know what all pedophiles
Another
look
guy
like.
was the area lead at work. The second guy was my area lead at work. I'm like, yo, this guy's been with the company for at least 10 years in the frozen tundra. Knows how to. He was there when they put the pipe in the ground.
Wow. And you didn't there was no vibe, no something. There was nothing about him. You're like, oh, I always knew he was kind of off somehow. Like, did you ever pick up on anything?
Not really. I mean, I knew he was. Both of these dudes had two commonalities, and I can't even use those commonalities there because I'm just gonna say they were Caucasoid and overweight.
And then now that is crazy. Well, I'm gonna play this, and we're gonna do some final thoughts. I'm gonna play this, because I promised to play this. We're gonna do some final thoughts.
All right.
All right. And hold on one second. You know me. So here we go. Share the screen here. What's it with the window? Okay.
Hey, folks, it's your nighttime. It's your right time DJ, DJ Music. Make sure you join Char Willie each and every Saturday, 7:30 Eastern, 6:30 Central, for article reaction, right here on your local YouTube channel. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe to Article Reaction.
All right. So that'll be one of the things that y'all need to check out. I'm going to do these public service announcements real quick. Tomorrow will be Backyard Barbecue with DJ Music on classic R&B jams, music all around town. Right. Tomorrow. The links of the channels and the station is in the description. So click that down, click on that, put that in your browser, save it to your Google Chrome browser. If you're using Firefox, you are wrong. But anyway, Monday will be our esteemed Cerulean Grey on the Grey Regime channel. I'm not sure, but I think there's going to be a Monday movie matinee on the greyregime.tv and on the Twitch channel. Tuesday, I will be starting a new series. We're finished with the patriarchy thing, and we're going to be starting pretty much the High Value Man series. Yes.
Oh, we're good.
Oh yeah, you know me. I like to put a little spin on some things. Throw some reality, sprinkle some stuff in there. Wednesday will be on the beat with DJ Music on classic R&B jams. And stay there because it's a 3-hour, but half of that, the latter half, will be keeping the beat with Classic Ruby and Char Willie. Char Willie is also on the beat segment as the co-host, and it will be Classic Ruby keeping the beat and Char Willie, right? And then we're off Thursday and Friday, but Classic R&B Jams will have other DJs in the coming months that you need to tune in and check out. Also in those coming days, Thursday, as far as Thursday. Now we're going to go into Friday, and Friday is JustaskChar Advice Channel panel. We had a great panel, great time, great. It was great. Char told us we had to go home. You know what I'm saying? So make sure you show up when she goes live. Hit the notification if you got something to say. She's going to drop the link, and you better say it. And you better get everything you need to say, because you're going to get, you're going to have to go home because she got stuff to do. All right. So I appreciate everybody that came up on this panel today. We went over. Well, we didn't go over because this was like a thing. I wasn't going to do it more than 4 hours, though. We ain't doing no 8-hour live streams. We got lives. We got things to do. And, you know what I'm saying? And the stuff that we really want to say, we'll just say it in the back cave. But we just, I like doing these once a month towards the end of the month, so we can all get together and y'all can get a peer into what all of these content creators do have to really say. And when we let our hair down, and they don't have to run a panel or a channel, and they can just be cool or whatever, right? So I appreciate every last one of you coming out, and we're going to send a round turn for final words. You know what I'm saying? Anybody can jump on and get it, and I'll close this out at the end.
All right, I'll start off. I just want to say thank you, Dre, for having me on. I really appreciate it. This was a great session. I enjoy coming and talking with you guys. I just want to say that, you know what, we are the solution to everything that we spoke about, this evening. The solution is within us. And if we can just find a way to organize and pull it together and get out of our own way, I do believe that, that we can make a difference. We can make some progress with regards to a lot of the things that we spoke about this evening. And thank you very much, and I appreciate it.
Always welcome. Always welcome. Your family, everybody, always come.
True. Yep. I have something less productive to say. So, okay. Being real. So, DeAndre, I really feel like you might be unresolved about circles. You spent a lot of days talking about how much you love circles. I mean, to my detriment, really. I felt like punching holes in walls. So much so did you interrupt my truly amazing psyche with, I like circles. And then all of a sudden yesterday, you talking about how ain't no intelligent people like circles. They pointless. You see, exactly. I feel like you are unresolved about circles, and I just wanted to take this time to let you know that I'm here to support you, brother, if you are going to get help for that problem of your unresolved issues with circles. All right. That is all.
That is all. But you know how it is. People that don't want to resolve their issues, they love circles, and we don't make any mistakes. It's just clouds. We don't make any mistakes. Because it's a part of accountability, right? If you actually admit to your mistake, and people don't want to admit to their mistake. They don't want to be accountable for their actions, right? So, anybody else? Chandra, our Supreme Commander, you there? Supreme Commander.
What?
It's been one hell of a ride, Steam Dre.
Exactly.
It's clearly past my bedtime, and these allergies are definitely kicking the shit out of me in the nuts.
This is great in the background, laughing.
Yeah. I didn't say anything. I was just, I'm too close to this wall, man.
Yeah,
Jesus.
Monday, just like you got something new coming up. Monday, we're gonna be debunking Moynihan's scissors. Came across an interesting PDF in the war chest. Moynihan's charts. We're going to be debunking each and every one of them on Monday with an all-new Great American Trick Bag. And I'm going to look forward to the high-value session on Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, it's going to be great. I got to
like, share, comment, subscribe. It'd be great.
I got a question though. Are you going to be live or does it premiere? Because you know people don't like to read. You know.
No, that one.
Okay. You know, because I know you had premiere biggest day and the time that you actually earlier today, and someone thought you was live because people don't like to read or pay attention, and the devices are smarter than them. But and you know, see, Ruby, we keep proving to you every day. People are stupid and they're predictable.
I refuse.
We have the scientific proof.
Yes. Moynihan, the Moynihan scissors thing. We're going to go through parts of the Moynihan report. And we're going to show how Patrick Moynihan was nothing but a dirty Irishman after all.
Got him.
And until then, let's say salute to the nation. Long live the black nobility. Salute to Ebon Noblesse.
We have our wonderful Sergeant Cursor here.
I'm gonna drop something. You know, once upon a time, they read to me a Bible verse that said, "To him who knows what is right and does it not, to him that is sin." I'm gonna paraphrase that shit for these YouTube streets. To him who knows what his responsibility is and does it not, to him that is derelict. Ooh. Woo-hoo.
Nice.
I don't have 1,000 subscribers yet, so I can't say appreciate y'all and pass the offering plate. But y'all can hold that change until I get those 1,000 subs, right? You know what I'm saying? That is outstanding. That is outstanding. So I guess everybody said their piece. I'm going to say my piece. And it's been great to be here with the family, to be with the regime, to be with all that have been here, that have supported us. Thank you for the average of 11 people that have watched us. We've peaked at about 15 at one time. Appreciate you. Thank you for sharing, and subscribing to the channel for the new subscriptions and stuff like that. September is going to look like I won't be as consistent with my 1/3 show because I am moving to the country. Haha. But I will be giving you pre-recorded content, and that I will be. I may do the one panel stream somewhere in September early because on my birthday I don't want to see none of y'all because my birthday's the end of the month. Okay, I don't want to see none of y'all. Nah, one of y'all in those YouTube streams. Now this doesn't inform the great regime here, but the rest of y'all I don't want to see y'all. It's my birthday, and I actually have a life outside of YouTube. So anyway, with that being said, I appreciate y'all for coming through. Salute to the black nobility. Salute to the nation, Ebon Noblesse. No one will beg you to be great, but we will hold you accountable. Thank you and good night.